it goes back and forth till he
Simon.
It works every time.
till he realizes how.
Un tecito for trash boys.
You're drinking.
Oh,
Oh hi, I didn't see you
I
there.
didn't see you there.
Welcome.
Welcome to Albert's on right now.
Cannot play video.
You want to check out our audio, Danny? So we do a quick mic check. You go. I saw your shit, dude. Your shit was legit, dude.
Some planning behind that.
Yeah. Testing 1 2 testing 1 2 3.
Was that delayed?
Oh, he sounds clear.
Mm-hmm.
Testing 1 2 3.
Testing 1 2 Trey.
Cool. Delayed reaction. Keep frame rate too low. Here we go.
Oh yeah, I'm good.
Here we go.
Yeah, we're good. We're good. Is there hissing?
No, it just says that the shit is too low.
Like always?
Yeah, dude.
I don't understand that.
I don't understand it either. Okay, let me turn on the audio.
You know what it
Get
is?
on this one.
I think it's because that light's not. That light eliminates a lot of the shadow.
Think so?
Yeah.
Can you click it on, Hector? Right behind that, the chains.
Right here?
Mm-hmm.
A little
To the
lower.
right.
There you go.
You see?
That's
Whatever.
that's a little bit.
Whatever, man.
That's why you get paid the big bucks.
That's right. Oh, look, these guys are live. Just on time.
Super live.
Super live. Saludos, bestie.
Munoz?
Simon. From Chicali Brewery.
I only have one bestie.
What about Baca, bro? So I thought that was your
No, he's my
bestie
best
too.
friend.
Oh, okay.
One of my many.
That's your compadre, no? También?
Yeah, también.
You want some tea or you want to chill?
I'm good right now.
Danny?
Charlie, güey.
The world's gonna end. We are drinking tea. Con eso se antoje.
Lo que se te ofrece.
La casa está fresca.
A ver, güey. Let me help you.
Oh, yeah, like that's this.
I never see tea like that.
You never seen this kind of tea?
No.
It's called mezcal tea.
Hmm.
Thank you to the late relief and the staff assistant for this bottle right here.
That's right.
Dos Hombres Mezcal Artesanal Joven 100% agave.
I'm just here teabagging.
Let me
Got you,
teabagging
bro.
me back.
I got you, bro.
What about the mug?
Trip.
Don't even trip. All
Well,
right,
it's the first time we've teabagged on the show.
bro. Let's see if the shit. We'll give you guys a heads up right now for thousands of viewers already watching. If at any point we get cut off, we will immediately go back on. We're trying out this other camera, and I could already see some pop-ups, some stuff saying about our frame rate's too low. La la la. We're not mechanics. I don't know what the fuck how this works. Mechanics, is that the proper term?
Yeah.
She mechanic.
Facebook mechanic.
Facebook mechanic. Can't say Facebook. It's Meta.
Is it meta?
I don't know. One of the two.
Metaverse.
See, the metaverse. Con el Hector Bravo.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like I need to put a pad, or if not, we're gonna be hearing the writing. What's this?
Probably one of your thousands of certifications.
Probably. It all just goes in a pile, bro. Who gives a fuck?
Notice of interview.
Monday?
Notice of interview.
I already have one of those. Subpoena. Already had that. A couple of those. Dude, I just had court not too long ago. And our lawyers, or the lawyer here, basura, bro.
Yeah.
No preparation whatsoever. You know, usually they kind of tell you like, all right, hey, Just be prepared for these type of questions that I'm gonna ask you. Blah blah, this and that.
Nothing.
Fuck, not that way. Nada.
Good luck.
Nothing. First question was like, so what do you do? It's like, oh, I work at such and such place. And what do you do? I'm a lieutenant. Okay, so, and what do you do there? Well, you know, I supervise, blah, blah, this and that, blah, blah, blah. My job, right? Kind of like my job duties. So you're an officer? Yes, I'm an officer. And from there, it was like downhill from her part, dude. Everything was all bad. I'm like, damn, this fucking lady set me up for fail, man.
That's how it is.
And then after that, I just had to defend myself from her and the two other dipshits. Anyways, I thought I did well. Thanks to Goes P.
Mm-hmm.
Goes P.
You really have to write down my name?
Yeah, because I'm going to forget about this paper. Don't worry, bro. I'm a pro. I've been doing this for 2+ years.
Same
okay?
one.
We've interviewed thousands of people.
Thousands.
It's good, man.
65,000 downloads.
It's a good movement.
Thousands, bro. Let's see. All right, we're gonna get started pretty soon. Can you guys all hear us pretty good? Give us a thumbs up.
Is there a hissing
Where y'all
noise?
from? Where y'all from? Where's everybody listening from right now?
Oh gosh.
Tammy, where you listening from?
Anybody who's listening, tell us where you're from.
Let's see. What else am I? Okay. Should I do the intro?
Mayanin Angelique is checking in from Brole,
Uh-oh.
B-Town.
which is a slang for Brawley, California,
Oh, that's good.
home of the cattle call.
Not the one with the alcohol?
Mezcal, yeah. Judgy, are we?
Nah. Thought I saw you get that away.
With my Urban Shield cup. Tea's so good.
We got one person checking in who wishes
Okay, we
they
got
were in
somebody from
Texas.
Oh, yeah, okay. All right.
You ever think about going there?
Corcoran.
Yes.
Ending there?
Yeah, Texas, Idaho,
Montana. That's where
Montana
it's at, dude.
would be nice.
Montana.
Oh, man.
Dude, my son the other day out of left field, he's like, let's go to Idaho. I'm like, why? Because they have potatoes.
It's a whole nother
I'm
world.
like, what the fuck?
It's a whole nother world.
Yeah?
Yeah, dude.
I thought
I
about
imagine-
Montana, but isn't that where the Duttons have everything on lockdown over there?
Yeah, I want to go over there just to have a beer with
Not a bad thing.
What's her name?
With Beth?
With Beth. I just want her to slap me. Slap me, Beth.
That new season out already?
It started on early November.
Yo. Okay, we're about ready, man. Let's do this shit. Oh, hold on. The intro.
Intro coming at you
Intro
live,
coming
live,
at
live,
you.
live. From an undisclosed location in Southern California.
It's not Raleigh.
Raleigh, Southern California.
On you.
To those tuning in, we say hello. This is Hot Mike on the line. Hot Mike is a show directed to support those in corrections, law enforcement and first responders, and our families. Remember, all the hosts and guests may speak of certain subjects about their line. This show does not represent any department in any way.
It is solely our opinion.
Warning, this show contains explicit content that may not be suitable for the easily offended, the faint-hearted, the intolerant of bad words, the individuals who are looking to get upset, and the triggered.
I'm talking to you, Karen.
If you believe that you're about to listen to material that you may find objectionable, offensive, distasteful, or unpleasant, please tune out now.
Are you still listening?
Hot Mic is real talk, and we are
Live.
So kick off your boots, grab yourself a drink, and stand by.
Stand by. Through it.
And this is one of those shows that truly falls into that disclaimer. If you are looking to get triggered, if you are looking to get upset, if you are ready to file, tune in. So, with us today, we have our special guest, Hector Bravo. What's up, man? How you doing, bruh?
Good, dude. How about yourself?
I'm doing good, doing good. We have our co-host with the master of disguise, the funniest man alive, the fucking training of all trainers, Danny, aka Pikachu.
Oh, good evening.
And I'm your other co-host, the idiot with two left feet, Ariel. We're gonna get this shit started. Today's show includes a military vet, current lieutenant for the third largest law enforcement of the world. Agency of the world. Thank you, bro. Like there's just so much I want to jump into, but before we get started, we always have words on the tier. We don't have do you have any right now? I know. I mean, this is gonna be a long one right here. With our show called "Exposing the Truth," right? Exposing the Truth with Hector Bravo.
Wait a minute. Is that what I signed up for? Exposing
Yes,
the
sir.
truth?
That's what you did.
Oh, God.
Your jaw's on the line right about now.
No, I mean, we've had a long run this year. Not as many shows as the last couple of years. The year's coming to an end. So, I don't know. I guess I would take this chance to say thanks to all of our listeners and all of our supporters throughout the last couple of years. You guys are the driving force behind this show. We would love to do it as often as we could, but unfortunately our schedules, it's hard, it's difficult. We both have families, we both have responsibilities outside of work, a lot of responsibilities inside of work. But in the back of our minds, I know for me, I'm sure for Ariel too, I'm always thinking, man, I bet you people are wanting to get another show. So, for you all that are listening, I know that you guys are the reason why we do this. So thank you all for continuing to support us, and even when we act all dumb. So that's all I want to say. That's my word on the tier. Thank you. Thanks for hanging around. It's been a good run.
And yeah, I mean, to piggyback on that, I mean, we try for the past couple of weeks. People have been asking like, "Hey, when's the next show? When's the next show?" I mean, you guys already know it's not easy. Dan and I have pretty conflicting schedules, and we always promise to try to do our best to do better shows. We do, however, I'll be leaving soon for about 2 weeks, and I do plan on doing 2 shows while I'm gone with some really good people from Corcoran and other prisons up north. So stay tuned for those. I mean, I think it's always exciting to hear other people from other institutions or other agencies, and not just hear our same old fucking beat. You know what I mean? So hopefully we get that going. I got to figure out a way to pack this equipment without it getting damaged, and I got to drive my ass up there for 7 hours. But it's gonna be worth it in the end. As far as my word on the tier, it's always unfortunate when we lose a brother. It's always unfortunate when we lose a sister or anybody close to us. Recently, one of our brothers from Cop at the State Prison lost his son. And I do want to put this information out there because we do plan on sharing the GoFundMe page. His precious boy was lost, died due to an unexpectedly. And we're hoping you guys can help us out. His son's Emiliano Cardenas, so you guys can check out the GoFundMe and assist with donating with whatever you can. It's always terrible to lose anybody, especially a son or a daughter. So stay tuned for that. We'll be sharing the GoFundMe on our page, on our Instagram account, and our Facebook account. And anything could be a big help. So let's get this started. Right across from us, we have Hector Bravo. I've known Hector for many, many years, since we were little chamaquitos growing up. Kindergarten, right? We're kinder mates back in the roaming the streets of Big Bad Beat Town, as they call it. And, we would cross paths here and there in school, and eventually met up again in the same department. But we will get to that. First of all, Hector, thank you once again for joining us.
Yeah, thanks for having me, guys. For sure.
So Hector, tell me a little bit about your upbringing, man. How did how
Upbringing.
how's your
All right. Well, born in Hanford, California, Central Valley. My pops was up there working in the fields. My mom ran away to go be with my pops. I was born. Brought down to Brawley shortly afterwards. You already stated B-Town. Brawley. Where I grew
Brawley.
up. Where I grew up until 17. But yeah. Hyper kid.
And I remember that. I remember the type of kid you were with the long hair, skater, really good at the skateboard. If I'm not mistaken, you're still pretty good at it, right?
But no, I'm way heavier now. Like 190 pounds.
But I remember specifically when we had this project due or a presentation.
Senior project.
Was it senior project?
Yeah.
Yeah, and was it the skateboard or something like
Yeah.
that? Yeah. And we're in the same class, and you just kind of like went with the motions, if I remember correctly. And I remember you saying, yeah, you know, with your long hair, just kind of hiding behind the board. Yeah, I'm just going to join the military. When I'm done, I'll become a CO. And that was like the end of your speech.
That was it.
And you followed your path.
That was a wrap. Yeah. I
So-
did.
since back then.
Yeah.
17 at that time. 2000 what? 2002?
2002, early 2002. Yeah. And so,
2002.
and let's talk about that. I know the military was a big part of your life. At what age did you enlist?
It was junior year. Junior year, that business class that they gave us, junior high, career day. Had a Marine come in. Weren't you a Marine, Dad? Marine, all decked out, dress uniform, talking about college, talking about traveling, talking about all kinds of cool stuff. And that's when the light bulb went off. Like, that's it. I'm going to the military. Initially, I thought I was going to the Marines.
What happened?
His head didn't fit in the jar.
I went to the Marine Corps recruiter station and took the practice ASVAB, which I failed. And the dude was like, "Hey man, you might want to go try your luck next door with the Army." I'm like, "What the fuck? Too dumb to be a Marine?" So I go over there. I tell him I failed it. Like, don't trip. Like, we'll do it here. And I passed it. And
Nice.
that's how I ended up in the Army.
And so what age did you join boot camp?
So once I enlisted, I was in the delayed entry program, which is kind of cool because you can enlist prior to you shipping out. And I didn't know, but that time that you're in there actually counts towards the end of your contract, your inactive time. So going into my senior year, I had already enlisted. So by the time I graduated, whether it was June, I was gone July 21st.
So you're ready to
fast.
get out.
And I mean, at that time you saw the news was about to crack off.
So this is what year did you say?
Something too.
2002, because I mean 9/11 had already happened in 01, 02, and then the talk about Saddam, talk about weapons of mass destructions, you know.
All that's ramping up at that time, and you're getting ready to go to boot
You can
camp.
see it. Yeah,
Fuck.
the war drums were beating at that time.
So you're 17, 18,
17.
17 years old. What's your mindset like? You know, you know you're gonna
I
go.
was stoked.
You're ready.
I was stoked.
Where'd you go to boot camp?
Fort Benning, Georgia.
Okay.
So right off the bat, I knew I wanted to go infantry. You know, I thought what I wanted to do was a job that I couldn't do in the States, right? So like, you definitely can't be infantry in the States. You know what I mean? Something that doesn't compare. And I wanted to be on the front lines. So I was my recruiter's wet dream when I went in there and said I want to be infantry.
Yeah.
So
There's a lot of people, they try to, parents, friends, everybody tries to steer them away from that.
yeah,
You
I
know.
just so Fort Benning, Georgia.
And then how long is Army boot camp?
That's OSUT, so one station unit training. So it's 9 weeks of basic training, followed by another 4 or 5 weeks of the AIT advanced infantry
Advanced
training.
infantry, okay.
So you really just roll into it. The demeanor of the drill sergeants change. You know, initially in the basic training, they're like hampering your ass. They're like doing what they got to do, and then when you go into AIT, they take the more of a mentor role. I
Okay.
mean, they're still fucking nailing you, but you kind of see that demeanor change.
And I think that the atmosphere had to have played a big part in that too, right? Because I know as a peacetime Marine, you know, going through boot camp and then going through so if you're going infantry, you go to I went through MCT, which is Marine Combat Training. So that's like the general, the general training. Because I worked on helicopters, right?
Yeah.
So, but every Marine at their core is
Right.
is a rifleman, right? So you go through boot camp, and then after that, you go for a month. You go to Marine Combat Training, unless you're infantry. Then you go to SOI, School of
Right.
Infantry, right? And those guys back then at SOI and MCT, those guys, none of those guys that were instructors there, none of them had ever seen combat. None of those guys had been, maybe some old crusty gunny from
Right.
that had been in the Persian Gulf War, maybe if you're lucky, but most of those guys got. So these guys are just there going through the motions, kind of just being dicks just for the sake of being dicks, right?
Yeah, culture.
But I think it was probably different when you're training people who are probably going to be in the shit like
It's kinda
within
funny.
the next 6 months.
It's kind of funny you should say that. Yeah, everything's ramping up. I mean, it wasn't a surprise. It wasn't a secret about what was about to happen.
Right.
Even before shipping out, I remember staying at the Padre Trail Inn in San Diego, the night after MEPS. And it's just like a lonely ass feeling, 17 years old, being on that plane. I think at the time I had a girlfriend or either broken up with her, and it was like, fuck, this is 17, man. You're a kid. And we touched down in Atlanta, Georgia. Hot as humid. Land at 9 o'clock at night. I was soaked, drenching wet. I'm like, what the fuck is this? And it wasn't like the Marine Corps where they yell at you immediately, which I found that to be very eerie. We got off. You go into like an in-processing, 30th AG reception, and it's just, hey, get out here, put your bag, sit down, and we're about to introduce you to the Army. It's not until you do it's kind of like purgatory when you're in there. There ain't shit to, you're getting your head shaved, you're getting all your vaccines, your BDUs, and then they march you down to your unit, and then that's when they smoke
That's
the
when it
shit out of
starts.
you.
That's when the yelling
That's
starts.
when it begins. No radio, no TVs, definitely no cell phones. So you're just cut off from the world. And at that time, the only access I had to the world was the newspaper stand in front of the chow hall. And I could see the headlines every time. And at that time, it was that DC sniper that was shooting.
That
with
was the big thing that was going on.
simultaneously.
So you're at AIT now, and your instructors are preparing you guys to go to war. I mean, and even these guys themselves could be potentially.
So to touch back on that, I didn't know what ranks, insignias, patches were, man. It's new booty. And one of the drill sergeant Furbish, he had a CIB, combat infantry badge, because he was from the Gulf War.
Okay.
82nd Airborne. And he would always tell us, oh, you guys fucking think this is funny. Now, you guys think it's funny. Wait till your buddy's bleeding out and dying in your arms. He'd always say that. But at 17, that's just somebody telling you something. You don't really understand that until it actually happens. You know what I mean? It's probably like a parent giving you advice, and you're like, yeah, whatever.
You
yeah,
know it all and
this kid
shit.
doesn't
Think
know what
that
he's
this
talking
good,
about.
yeah.
Oh, he knew what he was talking about.
Yeah. And that must be scary, man.
I wasn't. I remember on the last one of the last exercises, the 25-mile road march. They call it the bayonet. I don't even know if they still do it anymore. And on the last leg of marching in, I'm Drill Sergeant Wilson. He's like, "Hey, Farrell, don't you want to be a drill sergeant one day and train body bags? I mean, soldiers like you." Fuck. But he was cynical,
Yeah.
But that just was what time it was.
So they're just trying to desensitize the fact that
It's the
something
whole
happened.
thing is desensitizing you. And it's for a purpose. Look,
Yeah.
Why do you think they get them so young? 17. You try to tell a fucking 35-year-old man that, and
Yeah.
what are you
That's
talking
true.
about?
Fuck
That's
off.
true.
You're right.
So then you wrap up AIT. Then what happens after that?
30 days hometown recruiting. I got to come home and recruit back at home. And then after that, get on that airplane to Germany. Germany, man. At that time, I didn't even know what unit I was going to be in. It just on my contract with Europe. So I really didn't even know it was going to be Italy, Germany, just said Europe. Damn, man. I'm talking about extreme weathers. I mean, where we live, it's 120 degrees.
Right.
Then we go to Georgia, it's freaking humidity, 90%. Then when I landed in Germany, it was -20.
Oh shit.
And all I took was long sleeves because I didn't listen to my mom. So you might want to pack a jacket. It's gonna be cold. But yeah. So then they kind of organize you into this little office building where there's like TV monitor screens, and then it'll say your name and your unit. All right, cool. Everybody's going here. Everybody's going there. Load up in these vans, and then we're driving. So by that time in Germany, you know, the clock, the time difference, it's almost like probably 10, 11 o'clock at night. They bust us into a classroom, desk. Well, it was on the Ledward base, so it was a military base already. And the soldier there was like, hey, if you guys are going to 118 Infantry or 126 Infantry, you're going to Iraq. And it was just like silence. I mean, these were the dudes that I was in basic training with that just, and then we already knew we were going, but to hear it was like, fuck, like this
Shit just got real.
It's real.
Mm-hmm.
It's real. That was in '02. So I turned 18 in basic training, still up 2002. We didn't deploy to Iraq till 2004. So we actually trained for one whole entire year, like 23 hours a day, 22 hours a day, nonstop. Snow, shoot houses, mount training, CQB, all the battle drills,
Right.
blanks, miles.
So, do you think that increased your guys' survivability, having that pretty big span of because I thought you were gonna say we were there and the next 6 months later, boom, we're there. What are your thoughts on the training that you received to go to combat?
So when the war kicked off, I actually got a funny picture of this. Me and my best man. His last name's Garcia, actually, now that I mention it. We were extremely drunk because I used to drink heavily, right? We're in the barracks, and then they did that bombing in Baghdad where it kicked off in March of 03.
March 2003.
That one.
March 19th, 2003.
Shock and awe campaign,
Mm-hmm.
right? So we're like, what? We fucking missed our war? So I got my uniform. I'm throwing the uniform at the TV. What the fuck? We signed up for this. This is bullshit. We signed up to go to war, and like, we're missing it. We're missing the whole. I mean, it was an event, the drinking in the barracks and just yelling at the TV and screaming, taking pictures. But I'll touch on that later on because there was a time in Iraq where I go, bro, you remember when we were yelling and throwing shit at the TV? It's like, yeah, I fucking regret doing that. Because you want something until you get it.
Yeah.
And then,
I was gonna say
and then
you wish you would have actually missed it, probably.
So yeah, then they captured Saddam. They had captured Saddam while we were still in Germany. So we're like, that's it. What's the point? The fucking war's over. What's there to do left? I mean, they had portrayed him to be such an evil person and hiding allegedly weapons of mass destruction. What's left, But little did we know it'd be the beginning of the insurgency, 2004. And that insurgency, I mean, you guys, guerrilla warfare. It's guerrilla warfare is what that is.
Yeah, and that lasted how long? That was
up until the end of the war. I mean, it's probably still happening with whoever's back over there. Unconventional measures. But
So in 2004, did you get shipped somewhere after Germany?
In 2004, like to go to Iraq?
Yeah, you end up in Iraq, right?
Oh, we got
or
shipped
Afghanistan.
we got shipped to Kuwait.
Kuwait.
We got shipped to Kuwait, Camp New York, which is actually crazy because there's a dude from Brawley, Kuwait, man, of all places, middle of nowhere. It looks like Glamis with tents that they had set up. And I'm in the chow hall and I hear, hey, Hector. What the fuck? Because they don't call people by their first names in the military.
Yeah.
It's all last names. So I look and say, yeah, it's my buddy Joseph. It's our age.
Oh, shit, okay.
And I'm like, oh, fuck, what's up, dude? Damn, this is random. I fucking go back to my sergeant in Zaragoza, who was also a Marine prior enlisted. And I'm like, hey, dude, I just saw my fucking friend. He's like, oh, that's bad luck, bro. Who's younger? I was like, me. He's like, oh, you're fucking dead. Fuck. Yeah, dude. But then it goes through the whole desensitizing.
Yeah.
You're going to die.
Fuck.
But,
so you're there staged in Iraq and
in Kuwait,
or,
right?
Sorry,
and
Kuwait.
We're in Kuwait, and now we're getting straight through this, huh?
Hell yeah. I see you.
I'm
fucking
looking
break down.
at.
I see you
the
breaking
whole,
down. What are we skipping?
Yeah, if we're skipping something, just tell us.
Nah,
bro.
that's cool. I mean,
You skipped the build-up or what?
No, it is what it is. I didn't just.
Right here, we're straight to the meat, dog. You know what I mean? Like, fuck the salad.
That's right. No appetizer.
No, wait. We're not here to
That's
foreplay,
right.
homeboy.
That's right. Nah, so Kuwait. So the training shifted. The training shifted from Germany. We were training in the snow.
No, nothing.
Sucking it in or what?
Yeah, Guillermo's watching.
Oh.
Memo.
So we were training in the snow. That's what I thought was a trip. It was snowing when we flew out of Germany, and it was hot as fuck when we landed in Kuwait. But the training shifted. It was more towards what was happening at that time in Iraq. The IEDs, the ambushes. And then they showed us this video of an actual IED that hit, I think it was like Russian troops or something. And I was like, oh my God. Like, 'cause it showed the people flying out of the back. And I'm like, what the fuck? Like, what the fuck? Like, I'm not prepared for that shit. Like, how do you can't defend yourself against that. And then that's when our platoon sergeant, he had taken over. Kind of crazy dude. And maybe it's good that he had taken over because, like I said, he was crazy. So, like a psychopath. He wanted us to write a goodbye letter to our families. And I tried to start, but I couldn't finish. So, I didn't do it. And
That's pretty fucking dark, bro.
it's the way they portrayed it was like, hey, don't be selfish and leave your family some last words.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, dude, we didn't go over there with the expectation that, hey, we were going to go and everybody was going to come back. That's not what the expectation was. We're pretty realistic. So prior to even going there, it's kind of tripped out because we got like 3 NCOs, 3 sergeants that had just came back from Iraq from different units. One from the 4th ID, one from the 101st, and one from the 1st Armored Division. And they just left there right into our unit just to go back. It's kind of the fucked up thing. By timing, fucked. One guy had been in Afghanistan, Iraq, and then was about to go back to Iraq again.
Fuck.
So that's 3 years of combat before I even did my one.
Fuck.
They're pretty salty, you know what I mean? They're
Yeah.
experienced. So I asked Sergeant Eggert, I'm like, hey, what's it like over there? It's a whole nother world. It's a whole nother planet. And yeah, cross that berm. There's a berm in Kuwait, separates Iraq, and I was on a tank, on a M1 Abrams. I was on top of a het getting towed. So we took turns in the gunner seat and in the driver's seat. It took 3 days. 3 days to get to Balad.
So you were on a flatbed truck?
I was on a flatbed truck on top of a tank.
Inside of a tank.
Inside of a tank.
On a flatbed truck, but with the weapons
They were mounted.
on the
Abrams.
like a machine gun of some
Like
sort,
I
right?
can't even remember, but it had
Something-
probably
something
been
up
like a 50
there.
cal of some sort.
Okay.
You can see the craters, the IED craters on the side of the road. You can see the bombed out tanks, from the old Iraqi tanks from the first Gulf War.
We're still there.
Yeah, they're just. What it actually looked like was Highway 111, the 2 lanes and then the median.
Oh, okay.
That's what the Highway 1 looks like all the way from southern Iraq all the way to the north. Looks exactly like that.
Was that your first taste of?
Oh, that was nothing, man. That's nothing.
Well, let's go.
So you guys pushed those first few days you guys pushed all the way to where?
And
No, so we stopped. It like I said, it took 3 days, so I think we stopped 2 nights in between at some bases like Air Force Base, and we were infantry, so there was no chicks in our unit, but there was definitely chicks at these National Guard, Air Force Base,
Air Force
whatever they was. So
always
they had
has chicks.
inflatable pools and doing mud wrestling. I don't know what the fuck they were doing, but
the chicks?
you know,
What kind of fucking movie is this, bro?
I mean that's kind of what I'm saying. We didn't have chicks in our unit, so it was like different
And
to say the least.
you know, my taste from the small taste you had given me from your stories was when we were partners on C Gym, I think it was. So once in a while we'll be partners here and there. But I remember this guy would fucking out of the blue, you start telling me a story and I'll just soak it all in. I wouldn't say a fucking word, bro.
Really?
And I've always been curious, like all this that you're telling me right now, this is brand new to me.
Is it?
Yeah. You would tell me some shit, which I'm sure we're gonna get to, but you wouldn't tell me like, you know, the build up to it.
The build-up?
Yeah, but I remember you just like out of the blue be like, hey, I remember when, and then boom, you fucking tell me some story, and I'm like, fuck, I was in fucking.
Yeah, probably when I was telling you back then, well, clearly I was in a different state
Yeah.
of mind, different time in my life. Now I'm fucking 38 years old, so I get to look back and damn.
Yeah. I mean, we're talking about when we were like
Yeah,
24, 25, maybe a little
over
older,
10
a little
years
older.
ago.
Yeah.
Over 10 years ago. I didn't exactly have the best coping mechanisms
Nope.
at that time.
Drinking was
Yeah,
one of your best
alcohol.
friends. Yeah.
Alcohol.
Yeah, we'll talk about that.
Yeah, for sure.
So what was your first taste of bullets, bro?
It wasn't bullets the first time around. So we get to Camp Anaconda, that Air Force base in Balad, and we hear an explosion. We look around, what was that? Incoming. No, outgoing. So incoming is when the rounds are coming into you, and outgoing is when we're shooting at the bad guys, right? So we're like, and then shortly afterwards, you see a helicopter with like the tracers lighting people up in the woodline, whatever they were doing. It's like, fuck. Oh, this is cool. But still, that was nothing. It was like, that wasn't even my first taste. That was just that. We get on our FOB, FOB Palawada. It was named after a captain who got killed like 2 months prior on that FOB from indirect fire, mortars or rockets. And that FOB got mortared and rocketed every single day and every single night that we were there for 13 months. So we weren't safe when we were outside of the wire, which we were outside the majority of the time. And when we were back, we were getting fucking rocketed and mortared. And that would probably be the first taste of incoming at the internet cafe. They had an internet cafe where you can go and call your loved ones to get on the old school email. And yeah, you could hear the rounds. You could hear them impacting. But there's a distinct sound between incoming and outgoing when it hits or when it goes out. And at that time, I was too new to even, you know what I mean? It's kind of like,
Realize what was the difference?
it's kind of like where you work now. Like you have that sixth sense when something's gonna crack off. But to a new kid, it's just fucking chaos happens.
Yeah.
That's how my state of mind was back then.
So you're there at
Palawada.
Palawada for, you said, for 13 months?
Yeah, I forgot to say that. We were an infantry platoon. We got attached to tankers. Okay, I don't know. They were trying something new. So they made a company out of one platoon of infantry, one platoon of combat engineers, one platoon of tankers, and one platoon of National Guard from New York. So it was
It's kind of a real,
like a
an
fucking
oddball
Frankenstein.
mix. Yeah. Oddball mix.
So
of-
1 month
of-
prior to deploying, I told you our first sergeant or our platoon sergeant was a psychopath. He managed to piss off our first sergeant, and they needed one platoon to go with the tankers. So guess what platoon they picked? Second platoon, and we got disbanded from the rest of our platoon, our company. They ended up in Tikrit, Saddam's hometown.
Mm-hmm.
They were facing a whole different type of battle up there: small arms fires and RPGs. We were IEDs and car bombs. It was fucking gnarly. Like up there, they were driving around with Humvees without the doors, and we're like, "Holy fuck, no, we can't do that here." Like,
Yeah.
I mean, we had the doors and everything was getting blown off. No windows, but we'll get to all that, Ariel. I know you're chomping at the bits, my boy. I can see it.
You're just flirting with me, bro. Just flirting. I'm just soaking it in, man. Fucking making me sweat
ask
right now.
away.
So, so you said you're there. You're at Anaconda or not Anaconda at FOB. How do you pronounce it?
Palawada.
Palawada.
Yeah, kind of
Okay.
different.
And so you're there for those 13, and in those 13 months, constant
So-
constant attacks, and you guys are going out on patrols, I imagine, or
One good thing that the military does, and I hope they still do, is the right seat, left seat rides, where before the outgoing unit leaves, we ride with them, and they show us the area, they show us the people, they show us the, you know what I mean?
right,
So it's kind of, they're not fucking starting fresh.
almost like a familiarization. Of
Yeah, that
what-
is so helpful and so beneficial. And I you can tell those dudes had been in country for like already over a year, and they were all fucking tattered, different mix and match DCUs and BDU tops. I'm like, oh, that shit's cool as fuck, you know, like, and because I've always had a thing for bending the rules, you know, but
Nah.
bending, not breaking,
bending.
but
The gray areas.
But I remember specifically being out, and one of the guys said, "Hey, I just shot a dude yesterday. Just be careful when you're shooting these guys inside a house. That bullet's gonna go right through him. That 5.56 burns so hot, it's gonna go right through him." And I just remember looking at this dude like, kind of looked like the lead singer from Newfound Glory, but he just to me was like a god. You know what I mean? just how cool, calm, collective. Like, yeah, it just be. You might have to shoot them a couple of times to put these dudes down.
Damn.
And I'm like, all right.
Okay. Thanks for the advice.
But I mean, and yeah, you find out that 5.56 burns hot, burns fucking fast.
Goes back to
Like a 223. It is a 223. Patrols. We were burnt out, man. It was patrols, guard duty on our little fob, TCPs, traffic control checkpoints. We had this little homemade jail on our fob with the bars. Did I say raids yet? Raids.
No.
So when we go raid houses and we catch these bad guys or whoever they were and bring them back,
targets or whatever.
we put them in the our little jail, and they were there, and
Till
so
the Secret Service.
So you were already working in some sort of.
I wouldn't even call that prison work, man. It was they told us well, I'm not gonna say what they told us, but
the CIA would come get him.
yeah, I don't know what the fucking rules are on that, but we did that. QRF, quick reaction force. So so when we have our other element out there and they got attacked, we would respond. So we probably had like 10 duties that was just 24 hours a day, 24/7.
What did time feel like for you? You know, during this when you're out there, like you're saying, you guys are pretty much 24/7, some sort of duty. It's not like you get days off, of course. Was time going by fast?
I
Did
think
it
what
feel that
helped.
way?
I think what helped with that was the whole train up to in Germany. Those 20-hour days, literally 20-hour days, man. I'm talking about putting your weapons away at like 2300 hours and wake up at 03, weapons draw at like 0330. So much so that we didn't even have enough time to sew our patches on our uniform because of the alterations. We never had time to. So I remember thinking like, damn, we're working an awful lot. Like, but I was a kid, so I didn't have a concept of time or how much a person is actually supposed to work. They always
Like
just
Cal OSHA wasn't getting involved,
correct,
right?
Cal OSHA. No, what they drill into you is, hey, all you need is 4 hours of combat sleep. 4 hours of combat sleep. But to be honest with you, we weren't even getting those 4 hours. So it went by long, dude. It didn't go by fast. It was long because when we'd find IEDs, when we'd find them prior to them finding us, we'd have to call the Air Force. So we'd be out there for 6, 7, 8 hours. Till
Just
they
waiting for them to
waiting
come
for
in
them to come out and
for
detonate
EOD to
it,
come out
EOD. And those were the long. I hated those. The Air Force, they would have those UAVs, unmanned drones. They were always fucking crashing them. They'd send us to go find them. Sometimes we would, sometimes we wouldn't. So it's long, dude, long, drawn out. It was almost like everything blended. Sun coming up, sun going down, the prayers. That was a trip. The fucking prayers, like
With the horn or whatever?
Black Hawk Down.
Yeah.
Okay.
That was a trip. The mosque. I mean, I'm not gonna use the word fanatical, but how passionate they are about their religion. I'm talking about stopping in the middle of the road to pray. Stop in the middle of Highway 111 to pray. Put their little mats on the ground and face the east.
It's a good time to attack, no?
What?
They're just praying, fucker.
Oh.
Jeez.
Oh,
But
this of
so
engagement,
I was actually gonna ask you too. What was the? Did you have a lot of interaction with the public when you guys were going out on your patrols and stuff like that? What was it? Was it mostly positive, negative? What was that like?
I found out very early on that they didn't want us there. They didn't want us there. From that push up from Kuwait to Iraq, you could see the little kids. We were waving, and they just had this look on their face, like, "You're not welcome," flipping us off. The fucked up part about it is, like I said, insurgency. So the same dudes that were smiling and waving to you during the day were the same ones that were attacking you at night, which you're not expecting that. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
It's just a whole different animal. It's not the conventional, hey, you got uniforms, we got uniforms, we're pointing guns at each other, and we're gonna go all
the
out.
enemy's there.
Yeah.
We're here. Go kill the enemy.
It was nothing
and
like
then-
that, man. It was shoot and run. those mortars that I said would hit our fobs, they would drive around in little white trucks and pull over on the side of the road and launch like 3 or 4 mortars, and then they would just drive off. So by the time we went to go get them, they were fucking gone.
That's different from. So my brother was there in April of 2003 after shock and awe, and his unit saw some combat. They had some casualties, but that initial presence of U.S. forces over there was so different in that first year, because he's got pictures with all the locals, local police, local military. He's got pictures with kids on the street giving them candy and shit like that. But that was, before they.
So we were doing
fucked the
that
whole
too.
thing off.
We were doing that too, right? There was the Iraqi National Guard, and then there was the ING, and then there was the IP, the Iraqi police. I thought they were both corrupt as fuck, until I saw a busload of ING get blown up by a car bomb. And then I'm like, oh, fuck, maybe they were good after all, But those IP, for sure, definitely crooked. Like fucking TJ cops, or definitely working both sides. And you can tell. I mean, you can tell the kids, man, dude, I mean, it's a third world country, so you throw like an MRE or something, and they're just fighting over it. You throw candy, they're fighting over it. Water bottles, empty water bottles, and just dogpiling. So, they would try to drill us into the hearts and minds, right? That we're there. Technically, we didn't even know why the fuck we were there after they had already caught Saddam, but supposedly we were supposed to establish their government with their.
Oh, that's what it was.
With their
Establish a whole new.
Well, I was
democracy
actually
over
there during the first elections that they did, but that was at the end of the deployment. So yeah, that was my interaction with the population when we weren't kicking their doors at 2:00 in the morning with our fucking face painted and dragging them out.
And that when you guys would do that based off of intel that you got from locals,
So
probably people getting rid of fucking people they didn't like and
That's
shit
what-
like
that's
that.
what it
Like
is,
you
dude.
said, corrupt
Like,
people.
you don't like your neighbor, I'm gonna call the Americans, tell them my fucking neighbor's a bad guy.
Is a Fediyin
Fe-
or some shit.
They would say Alibaba. So, yeah, I would go and fucking smash their house. And, I mean, they did tell us don't mess with the Quran because the Quran is holy and stuff
Right.
like that. I mean, when you're 17, you're 18, you're mad, and you're young, dumb, naive. It's kind of wild over there, man. So, yeah, a lot of times, those houses weren't empty as far as enemy combatants, any enemy equipment. But then you start realizing, like, this fucking person always calls on them, so we'd hit that person's fucking house. And then they would never call us again.
So be the rat.
Kind of like the mob.
The mob. And how long were you in
Over
you
there in Iraq.
Yeah, in Iraq.
13 months.
13 months total. Did you ever make it back and go back to deployment, or just stayed out there for 13?
All right, so here we go then. This is where we're gonna take this.
Let's go.
So, R&R, halfway through, it was August time. I got to go home on R&R, rest and relaxation, or whatever they call it, with the Sergeant First Class Villanueva. This dude, Joselito Villanueva, he was Filipino, Sergeant First Class. He was from LA. In the beginning of that deployment, he was on that road that I said looks like 111. Their Humvee got hit with an IED. He took shrapnel to the back of his neck, and his driver was killed. Tick. And he had a long last name, but his nickname was Tick. So that was actually the first casualty of our war. You know what I mean? So it's kind of like, oh, fuck, this is fucking real. And he used to carry that little piece of shrapnel with him. He was actually in the Gulf War. So,
Wow.
2 wartime veteran. And it's kind of crazy, dude, because I think, like, God puts people in your lives for, like, you know what I mean? Like, it's just kind of crazy how things worked out, man. And he was in that he was in charge of that engineer platoon, red platoon.
Mm-hmm.
So he was the head guy. We got our R&R together, so we went to Kuwait. We shared like a little bunk area. we had to do our laundry, so we did our laundry together. You know what I mean? Like he was older than me, dude. He was older than me, kind of like a father figure in a way.
Mhm.
Hanging out, chilling. He goes to L.A. I touchdown in San Diego. That R&R, fuck man, it was a lot of shit, fucked up shit had already happened prior to August, you know, so we kind of skipped over that. So it was gut wrenching to want to go back, to need to go back. It's like I didn't want to go back, but I knew I wasn't gonna leave my brothers who were still over there. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It wasn't an option. So we land in or we get in Texas. So, and then he's like, "Damn, I don't want to go back." Like, what do you mean you don't want to go back? And I found that to be weird because he was at E7, you know, and I was like, "We got to go back." He's like, yeah, you're right. So we go back, and then September 10th happens. So September 10th, I get woken up. They're like, "Hey, Farrell, get up. We're rolling out. We're QRF. We just got mortared in the morning time." And I'm like, "What the fuck?" It's kind of weird. I didn't hear anything. Normally, I kind of maybe would hear something, but I didn't hear the incoming. So I'm like, all right. Kind of woke up groggy. We all start kind of, that day was already weird to begin with. Kind of start slow dragging it, putting our shit on. We load up in the Humvees. We drive out the gate. And my buddy Maldonado's working the gate guard. And he kind of just like looks at us. We look at him. It's kind of just awkward already. So what used to happen was when these dudes would mortar us, we had a satellite on our fob. That satellite would track the trajectory of the mortar and give us the point of origin, the poo, and we'd go investigate. Well, after a while, these insurgents caught on to that. So they baited us in. You know what I mean? They lured us. It was just a matter of time. They're not dumb. They're dumb, but they're fucking smart.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I get it.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I knew that area where it was like along the Tigris River, and there's a T intersection, right? You go left, you go right, and the T intersection. We would roll in 4 vehicles on patrols, and we realized that we left one of the vehicles behind. It broke down, so we're like, "What the fuck? Oh shit!" Get on comms with them. My platoon leader at the time made the decision, "Hey, Farrell, take the vehicle, go back, link up with them." Cool. So I go back. I was just assuming that they were going to stay there. I mean, I didn't know what to think. But from that T intersection to where the point of origin wasn't that far down the road. It wasn't, it was just around the bend, kind of. So we link up with that other Humvee, and dude, you just hear this big ass fucking explosion and a rumble, like that rumble was just fucking never ending, because I had been hit by IEDs before. We knew what this was.
Different.
Fuck, man, it just felt, and looking back, like like that bomb was taking a soul, which it kind of did, and then gunfire. So we're like, what the fuck? So like, I'm like, "Hey, let's fucking go. Let's go. They're getting fucking hit. Let's go." So we're like looking at each other, me and my sergeant. We're like trying to, see what the
Process everything.
Yeah. But we hear the M16s, right? Because you can also, eventually you hear AK-47 fire, and then the AR fire, you're able, or the M16. So fucking, we jump in the Humvees, and I knew a shortcut. So yeah, they did end up going down that road. They did end up going to the point of origin.
Mm-hmm.
Well, what had happened was, man, there was a canal bank, and these are how these fucking assholes used to blow us up with IEDs. They would get copper wire, and they would string that shit down the like hidden, right? And they would do like 9-volt batteries to artillery rounds, two 155 artillery rounds, and put another 9-volt battery. So all they had to do was touch the battery and they'd be big.
Boom.
That was an IED. I mean, that's how simple these dudes would do it. So my buddy Edgar Doc Daclon, he was our medic. Good dude. He was our medic, but we treated him like a grunt. He was a grunt to us. He was the first one outside of the Humvee. Steps in front. Soon as that insurgent saw him, he detonated the IED. Blows him away. I pull up. I don't know what had transpired yet, you know what I mean? Soon as I get out, Sergeant Eggert comes up and said, they killed Doc. And I'm like, what do you mean they killed Doc? He's like, look, he's right over there. So I look to my right, and I see a dead body on the floor. My whole fucking world just went like tunnel vision.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, what the fuck? Like that feeling right there. I mean, you guys had nightmares before, right? But when you wake up from the nightmare, that was just it. This was a real life fucking nightmare. My youth, you know, because up until that point, I always believed good things happen to good people, bad things happen to bad people. That was not that case right there. That shattered that fucking
Belief.
Your innocence of being a
that right there shattered that part.
Mhm.
So we still got a job to do, right? My lieutenant is sitting on the Humvee, holding his foot up. I look at the bottom of his boot. His boot is blown away. I see like meat, like ground beef on the bottom of his feet. So I'm like, well, fuck, he's wounded. I see my buddy Hinks is bandaging my buddy O'Neill's head. Like O'Neill's like crying, like screaming. I'm like, well, fuck, he's out of the fucking fight. And I'm like, fuck, well, I got Doc's dead, the lieutenant's wounded, O'Neill's wounded, and Hinks is fucking treating O'Neill, and we have a vehicle coming down the road. I'm like, fuck. So they would do secondary, third attacks, right? They would just like light your ass up all the way. So I stand in the road, and the first car saw me and turned around, did a U-turn. The second was a truck, and I fired a warning shot over. Fucking truck still kept coming. Fired at the ground, truck still kept coming. So months prior, I had already shot somebody. Kind of didn't necessarily like the feeling that I had endured after that incident, right?
Mhm.
So this fucking thing is coming, and I see that there's a driver but no passenger. So I shoot through the passenger window. Fucking truck is still coming. Like, by that time, that truck was already up on us. Because my whole thing is I'm assuming it's a car bomb. You know, like I said, they hit us. So we proceed to go, smash through the window, pull him out. He was an old dude. I think he just was lost and confused. Throw his ass back in the fucking truck. He turns around and drives away. They're like, hey, did you shoot him? I'm like, nah. Like, let's keep moving. Let's fucking still got to keep moving. My buddy Weeks shows up. And, like, let's go follow the wire. Right? Because at that point, we were E4s, man. So, like, our lieutenant's out of the fight. Sergeants are working on lieutenants. They're calling a 9-line medevac.
Mhm.
You know, like, there's shit. People are doing other shit. So, me and Weeks, like, take it upon ourselves. Like, let's go to the end of that fucking wire. So, me and him were moving. And, yeah, sure as shit, dude. We fucking see where this dude's set up. We see down. Yeah, perfect line of sight. So, what they do, they detonate and they took off. You look, there's a village over there. This fucking asshole got away. They normally would. Come back. By that time, the QRF had arrived to us. So the cavalry, the troops came. Like Farrell popped smoke, red smoke, so that the helicopter could land. I fucking throw it. It like bounces and banks and didn't go where I wanted it to go. So my dumb ass grabs it, burned the shit out of my hand. It was burning hot. Kind of just drop it like fuck. Helicopter starts coming. I go to the field. I'm standing straight up. And that's when Sergeant Villanueva, the one I went to Kuwait with, grabs me by the shoulder and brings me down. You know, the rotor blade from the
Yeah, and they
helicopter.
fucking flex.
He's like, hey, dude, you're doing good. You're doing good. Keep doing what you're doing. Like, I don't know if he must have saw I looked a certain way or why he said that. I mean, he was a good man, so hey, just keep doing what you're doing. Keep you doing good. All right, cool. Fucking helicopter lands. We start loading up the bodies. I remember seeing some puke on the ground. Somebody threw up. I don't even know. Come to find out, my buddy O'Neill said he threw up, but I remember just seeing vomit on the ground. So then, bodies get lifted away, and we hook up the Humvee to another one of the Humvees. Now we got to tow it back to the fob. So it's being towed. And I remember the Iraqis kids on the side of the road watching. And there was that pool of blood, man, that blood, that I hadn't seen anything like that. Like the color, dark, black. I mean, you probably know what I'm talking about.
The gut blood, as they call it, fucking straight purple still and shit.
Purple, black, yeah, it looked black to me. And I didn't want I didn't want the Iraqi people to see that they had killed one of us. And I just remember this hatred, absolute hate in my heart when I saw them. And we were towing the Humvee, and I just remember looking like, I fucking hate these people. Like, I fucking hate these people. We go back to the fob. I told you my best man, his name was Garcia. So we were really cool homies. Me, Doc, Garcia. And I mean, you know, there's cliques and people that
Right.
kick it all the time, right? Well, that was us. My buddy Garcia was on guard. When they found out Doc had got killed, they relieved Garcia. Garcia was in the little barracks area. You know, we shared quarters separated by like plywood, wood. And he's like, what happened? Like, fucking, we're crying. We're fucking crying. We're devastated. We're like, fuck. You know, we couldn't really talk. It was just like, it was like unreal. And, you know, that was September 10th. That was my mom's birthday. And I think back like, oh, fuck, it's my mom's fucking birthday. Fuck. So I'm like, fuck, we're back. I know that when people die, they shut down the computers and they shut down the internet cafe so that nobody leaks out information, so that nobody notifies the family prior to
the proper channels. Or
prior
whatever.
to the notification. So, I call my mom, you know, and like, hey, you know, everything's cool. Love you. Happy birthday. And like, that's a wrap. Like, hey, nothing, everything's all good over here. You know, so I was able to make that phone call prior to the phone getting shut down. It within 24 hours, we were back at it. There was no stop. We did have a ceremony for him like 3 days later, but that shit didn't stop. So I could see people how now they come back with issues because there's no time to process that.
That's what I was gonna ask you. Like, is there anything that's done? Is there any like peer support, counseling, anything offered?
The chaplain.
But I mean, does anybody do it, or is there like a stigma against it, or like,
No,
hey,
no,
you
there
don't
was
fucking
no
talk to them,
stigma.
like
No.
how did it? Did you just had to push forward? Like, you couldn't like stop the process, or what was the?
The mindset behind that?
Yeah, like how did it affect you going forward?
Hate. Fueled with fucking hate. Vengeance. Revenge. I mean, I don't want to use the word revenge because revenge means you're purposely going out there looking to get back. This was more of when we get attacked, we're going to smash these fools.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So
Calculated and
we weren't loose cannons, right? We weren't like misguided missiles. We were very we were very
still professional.
disciplined. We were very disciplined, right? And that was just our first loss. I can't remember if they sent the chaplain there. Like I had told you, I mentioned I had shot somebody months prior. They definitely should send the chaplain to me there. That was September 10. September 27. September 27 was 2 weeks later. We're QRF now. We're the QRF.
Okay.
Apparently, Red Platoon was out in sector doing their patrols, right? Because the patrol, what it looked like was, like, let's say Brawley. All right, you're going to go up until you hit the city of Westmoreland, then you're going to come back. You're going to go out until you hit Highway 111. You're going to go up to a certain point, then you're going to come back. So we had our sectors. All right.
Okay.
At that time, the engineers were out in sector. And then we hear Red Platoon's getting ambushed. We didn't hear the gunfire, but you can hear like the urgency. Hey, let's go. So I remember too. It's not that I always just wanted to go be in the mix. You know what I mean? Like help, like it's something inside of me. So I'm like, let's go, fucking yelling at my same sergeant. Like, not that he was slow fucking it, because he wasn't, but it just wasn't moving as fast. So we pull out, we go. It wasn't that far down the road. And I get there just in time where they're loading a body into a body bag. And it's kind of at a distance. But I see a body, and then I see them stretching out, and I see him kind of throwing him in there. And I'm like, fuck, please let that be ING. You know, I told you about those Iraqi National Guard. Please let that be ING. Please let that be ING. And I was on a gun position at that time. Sure as shit, man. It comes over the fucking radio. Red 7. Red 7 was KIA. And that was Sergeant First Class Villanueva. He got shot in the throat, and he died. So, like I said, it's more than just somebody dying in combat. It's those relationships built prior that are just fucking devastating. You know what I mean? And a lot of feedback that I got when I came back is like, oh, well, you know what you signed up for. You know, but that's not what... I didn't fucking sign up. I didn't sign up to watch my buddies get killed. That's not what I signed up for.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That wasn't part of the plan.
So he had survived that IED and then earned some R&R and then goes back and ends up KIA.
Yeah, and then, like I said, I thought how eerie it was when we were in Texas, and he didn't want to go back. That was only a month prior.
Yeah.
So that was September 10, September 17. October 1st was kind of cool. Was, I don't know if you ever heard of the city of Samara?
A little bit. Samara, Iraq. Mm-hmm.
So Samara is south of Tikrit and north of us, so north of Baghdad. We had always been told that we were going to invade Samara. Well, you should have sure heard of Fallujah, right?
Mm-hmm.
So Fallujah was in November. This was in October. Same circumstances, but on a smaller scale. A city taken over by insurgents, and where we really didn't have a presence there, so kind of have to take it back. They'd always been telling us we're going to take it and then stand us down, take it. But they told us, like, hey, tomorrow we're leaving. This is it. I'm like, oh, shit. Tell my best man, like, hey, if I get killed over there, you know, call my family and let them know some good shit. Like, yeah, likewise, cool. So we go into a conference room where my lieutenant's there. Mind you, this is a new lieutenant because the last one got medevaced out. Didn't see him again. So this is a new, like, tanker lieutenant, but he had a ranger tab. So I was like, all right, cool. And he's like, you guys have any questions? And I'm like, hey, sir, when we invade this town, is there going to be people going about their daily business, like putting gas, grocery shopping, this and that? And he's like, hey, the lieutenant colonel, he said he wants you to burn this fucking city to the ground. They had enough time to get out. We have like 0% collateral damage.
Fuck. That's crazy.
He said, every car that you see, blow it up. AT-4, Javelin, Grenade, 203. It could be a VBID. I mean, and they were. They were VBIDs. Vehicle-borne IEDs. So we're like, oh fuck.
So basically, anybody who's left in that town has been deemed, um,
Whoever
what
stayed
is that
back's ready
called?
to fight.
And
What's the fucking word I'm looking for?
combatant.
Bad guys, combatants. Yeah, not cool people.
But to touch back, like I said, we weren't fucking loose cannons or wild cowboys, because there were a lot of families. There were a lot of people left behind. I mean, we would raid houses and find rooms full of families hidden
Just-
and scared as shit. Right? You kind of got to leave them there and just keep moving. That was like a 3-day operation of
You
pushing.
guys did end up invading that
Yeah.
that town.
Yeah. There was some enemy KIA. The majority kind of like fucking ran, pushed out, but nothing major. Nothing. Definitely not on the scale of fucking Fallujah.
Fallujah, right?
Yeah.
What's going on over there? You right back?
Good.
Folks,
it's not skipping.
if you're just joining us, so we could take a little breather because I'm all fucking tense and hot.
Me too,
I can
bro.
only imagine what Hector's feeling. If you're just joining us, we have Hector here with us, combat veteran and current guy working for the third largest law enforcement agency in the nation. And he's telling us his experiences in Iraq in the year 2004. In 2004. So after Samara, was there any other combat operations that you were involved in, or were you?
Not major combat operations, but when Fallujah kicked off,
Mhm.
they picked me. I don't know, because they could kind of see on me. Maybe I was getting like combat fatigue or some shit. But they're like, "Hey, Farrell, you're gonna go to Tikrit and you're gonna guard prisoners of war at that little prison there." And I'm like, "All right." I actually was looking forward to that because I was tired of the fucking grind, you know, of the same day-to-day bullshit, getting attacked. So yeah, I jumped on a helicopter, and then that cool part is that I got to link up with my original company. That's where they were stationed at, FOB Dagger or Danger in Tikrit, Saddam's hometown. Yeah, that was 1 month of guard duty. 12 on, 12 off.
Oh man.
Never do that shit again. To lighten the mood. Can't have a fucking well, there was no cell phone. Can't have a radio, can't have a magazine, can't have a book. You just gotta sit there for 12 hours and watch these dudes.
Is this already after Abu Ghraib?
Yeah. Yeah.
So okay, so no shenanigans then.
No pictures and shit.
Well, I got pictures, but like no shenanigans.
And when you say link back up with your, so that was from before you got broke off to go with that experimental tanker /
Yeah.
all that stuff, right? So you got to hook up with your company that you were with prior to that.
So I linked up with him. I saw my buddy Vasquez on crutches. I'm like, "Dude, what happened to you?" It's like, "Oh, I got shot in the leg." Like, the fuck you mean you got shot in the leg? It's kind of funny because he used to be a gangster from Los Angeles and left the gangster life to go be a soldier and get shot in the
shot
fucking
in freaking
thigh.
Iraq. Wow.
So I kept asking, like, "Hey, where's King at?" "Oh, King got fucked up in a RPG, took shrapnel to the ass and the back," which that guy, Jeff King, he actually ended up taking his life around 2 years ago, which was also fucking devastating because all the shit that we went through together.
Right.
Just the demons, you know?
Right. And so you do your month in Tikrit
Uh-huh.
and then
Well-
hook back up, or how did
So
it?
I do my month in Tikrit, and I was like, "Hey, you guys get incoming?" Tell my homies, and they're like, "Nah, we don't." Bro, the first fucking day, start taking incoming, like in and around the little us,
Jinxed it.
right?
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, "Hey, motherfuckers, didn't you say like, oh no, they get incoming, we don't, they don't really fuck with us too much up here." But yeah, it was
So when did you finally get to go home?
March, January, February, March of 05.
05. You come home and you get stationed somewhere else, or do you get like a chance to kind of like, you know,
Another 30-day leave.
yeah.
Another 30-day leave with $20,000 in our bank accounts. because we weren't spending
Yeah,
money.
you're not spending money on
So
it.
it
You're
was
just
just-
banking your check every month.
And all right, so you come home. Do you guys get like a program? Like for example, now that we're institutionalized, right?
Mm-hmm.
When an inmate is locked up for a certain amount of years, it could be a year, 2 years, whatever. They send them to these programs like a halfway home, so they can get ready to integrate them back to the community. Do you guys experience that as a?
Let me tell you what we got, man. We got put in a hangar, an Air Force hangar or airplane hangar, and the lieutenant colonel like, don't beat your wives, don't drink and drive. You guys are free to go. That was it. That was it.
And that's like you're dismissed from duty. That's it.
Go enjoy your leave.
Oh, this is leave. You
Leave.
still got to
Thir-
report back
It's a
after 30
30-day
days,
leave.
right?
Yeah, but you want to talk about like were there rehabilitative programs? Nah. They did have a psych see us, but we were all on board. Like, we're not gonna tell this person anything. We're not gonna tell this lady
Yeah, you don't want to
anything.
fuck off your leave either.
Um,
Oh, this guy can't leave.
Did
He's not-
you
know.
did you see any enemy KIA? No. Did you see any of your friends get killed? No. Did you shoot anybody? No. Did you ever see any civilians get killed? No. No. Let me go home. And yeah,
That's it.
that was it.
So anything that would, so if you answered any of those questions with, it was a potential, you don't know if they won't let you leave.
I
Well,
wasn't-
maybe this guy can't. I wonder.
It's 2005, man. It's definitely not where we are now.
Mhm.
Definitely. And I'm very super proud of where we are now. There was stigma. There was
Right.
stigma prior. Not only was it stigma, it was also unknown. Cool. This reminded me of something. I told you me and my best man were throwing shit at the TV, right?
Yeah.
Saying saying that we missed the war. This was January. Is it January? Well, there was a car bomb that killed 22 people. We roll up on scene. That was fucking nuts, man. It's like pieces of meat everywhere. And the crazy thing about that is it was January, so it was cold outside. So you can see the steam,
Man.
kind of like a fucking tea. See the steam coming off the pieces. Charred. Everybody was charred. Everybody was in pieces. Fucking disfigured. Different positions. Not normal positions, right? So we were done, man. Like, tired. Done. Of just a whole year of that kind of stuff. And we are on a patrol. Me and my best man rarely went out on patrol together. The way it worked out that we would always be separate, but this time we did. We get a call that there was a drive-by shooting and that there was a car in the canal bank, which was dry, with like a victim or two inside. So we pull up, sure as shit. The fucking dude was dead, head over, his brains are hanging on his shoulder. You see a bullet hole in his head. So over there they have tribes, Sunni, Shiite, and they
Right.
fight each other too. Yeah, they decapitate each other and they war with each other. It's been like that for the beginning of time. So we're like, fuck, man, some more brains. I mean, we were seeing brains constantly, like normal. And this is morning time. We fucking go. I got videos of this too. I got pictures. The lieutenant wanted my friend to go take pictures. Takes pictures. So now me and my best man are sitting on the canal bank. You got a car with bullet holes. You got a dude. Fucking, oh. This is another fucked up thing. So we had Motorola radios. My buddy Weeks says, hey, Farrell, I got the family members of this dude coming. Do you want me to stop them? I said, yeah, stop them. Don't let them come over here. She's like, too late. They're already walking. So I'm like, oh, fuck. So the son goes, looks inside, sees his fucking dad with his brains hanging out. And he fucking loses it. Starts screaming. Starts fucking screaming. My best man starts laughing. So then I kind of start laughing like, oh, that's fucked up, bro. Like, knock it off. You know?
Yeah.
So he looks at me like, hey, do I take him to the hospital? I take him to the fucking hospital. I said, if you know a hospital is going to bring that dude back, let me know because I got a couple people that I want to bring back.
Yeah.
So we just threw him a body bag and as is, you know? So me and my best man are sitting on the canal bank and he tells me, either I told him or he tells me, hey, bro, remember we were fucking throwing our blue infantry blue cords at the TV, and this is all we wanted? And he's like, yeah, bro, I fucking regret it. You know? 'Cause, I mean, we had seen a lot already. We had done a lot. And he said, hey, bro, do you think when we get back, we're going to be fucked up in the head? Like the Vietnam vets, like the Gulf War syndrome? I'm like, no, dude, we're cool. I mean, this fucking dude with his brain's just chilling. And, like, all we could think about is going back and getting breakfast.
Yeah.
But in hindsight, that already was not normal.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Yep. No, exactly what you mean.
So that was that. That's not normal. To see that, first of all, to be hungry, to laugh at a very inappropriate time, but you know, that's a mechanism, whatever they call it.
Yeah, it's
A response.
Yeah, it's just a
involuntary response.
Involuntary response.
you're just kind of like dealing with the situation, right? I mean, but it's I mean, not to jump too far forward into our line of work now, but it's something I've been talking about all the time. I've talked about it in classes that I teach, right? Or it's not normal to see a person, you know, with, you know, bleeding out, multiple stab wounds, on the verge of death, and all we can think of is, I'm gonna be late to my kid's game. You know,
Yeah, it's not
like, we're just like, I'm gonna have to stay late now, right? But if we reacted the way everybody else did in that situation, we wouldn't be able to perform our job.
We would not be successful.
We would not. We would be fucking with our fucking hands in the air screaming.
That's true.
Right? Like the kid that sees his dad there. We would react like that, and how could we complete our job? So
it's a survival mechanism.
Yeah.
That turns around and bites you in the ass afterwards.
So can we
fast forward to
can we
when he
yeah
leave?
can we are you
Well, that was
good?
the end. That was
That's
the
it.
end.
That's-
That was yeah. There was other shit, like I said, but that was the end of that deployment. Yeah.
You come back to the States, you get out shortly out, EAS shortly after that, or
I discharged. Let me see, March, April, May, June. Took terminal leave in June. To 30 days. Got out early. And
06.
06? No, 05.
No, 05.
05. So from 05 to 06 until my current job, it was, yeah.
And what did you do between that time? What was it like coming back to, quote unquote, the real world here in the States, Big Bad Brawley, or San Diego?
To keep it real with you guys, a lot of self-medicating.
In what way?
Alcohol. That's all I did was self-medicate. Told you I had $20,000 saved up, right? It was every day, 24/7, 365, drinking every day, to oblivion. And it's not like I told myself, hey, Hector, you're going to drink to get over or numb what you just went through. It was more, I was telling myself, you deserve this. You lost a year of your life over here. Now you're just making up for it. So justifying.
You were rationalizing, justifying why you were acting that way.
But what it was PTSD. It was survivor's guilt. It was anxiety. I can't really say I've ever had depression, but maybe there was some symptoms of depression along with the, sure as fuck, alcoholism. It runs in my family.
And but during this time, at least you had the ability to apply, right, for the department. How did that come about?
I applied at different agencies. I applied, like Border Patrol. Applied at pretty much all the agencies, right? Kind of see what would pop up first. Even though I did have that one plan. And yeah, I got in some trouble. I got into some trouble with the law during that stint. And while I was in trouble, I get a letter saying that go take the test. So I'm like, oh shit, like what does this mean now? What does this mean? Here you had this plan. Here you're all fucked up. Well, I can't say I thought I was fucked up because it was just at that time that's what that was. But when the background investigator came, he seen it and he's like, "What's up with this?" I'm like, "Hey, this, and this." He's like, "All right, I'll give you a chance." And then it was pushed through.
So you admitted that,
You have to.
yeah, that your fuck up was based on possible
No 'cause I
reaction
didn't-
from
No, it was
coming back from deployment? Or you just admitted, like, hey, I fucked up.
yeah,
I got a whatever.
yeah.
Okay. And those of you listening, that if you're not part of the department or any department, like, really, if you admit to your faults, if you admit to anything, even something simple as getting a referral in high school or some sort of disciplinary in high school, like, you could possibly still have a job or get a job offer.
It was just, I mean,
So-
not to take the blame off of me, just like hanging with the wrong crowd, doing things I shouldn't have been doing, just putting myself in situations that I should not have been in to begin with. That got me caught up in a wreck.
All right. Fast forward a little bit more, because there's still a lot more to talk about. You get the phone call to,
Yeah, from my parents' house in El Centro.
and what was this phone call like? How old are you at this time? You're like, what, 22?
22.
22?
Yeah, that 2-year freeze.
Uh-huh.
2-year freeze from the time of the application
Yeah.
to all the testing, this and that. Hey, congratulations, such and such. Where do you want to work? Cool. This is where I want to work. All right, cool. You got it. Hang up. You start here. Then, like, all right. Done, you know? That in itself was not like hard. You know, it's kind of like college.
The academy.
It's
The
pretty,
academy.
yeah. It's like kind of.
I was gonna say that must have been torture for you.
Nah, I mean, it was. You could say, I mean, bless their hearts.
Yeah,
The sergeants tried, right? But I could see right through it.
yeah.
They tried, but
But you at least got to hold a flag, right? You were the JCC.
nah, I was not.
Lay low. I think he was the kind of a lay low guy.
And you report to,
Report to where I report to.
What was it like the first couple of years, man, as a fish cop?
Well, I definitely had it a lot easier than these young kids have it today. You know, no scrutiny, no scrutiny, and I'm not putting that lightly. I'm putting the emphasis on that. No cameras. Not that we were doing bad things, because we were not. I'm just talking about at that time you were allowed to make mistakes and not get your head chopped off over them. It was handled at the probably lowest or minimal enough to where they got your attention, and then you never did that again. Not where they fucking chop off your head and you're devastated and scared to even
To do anything.
do anything while you're getting punched in the face.
And how long were you in that institution?
8 years.
You were there for 8 years.
Violence, regular normal stuff.
Just a couple slap fights here and there. Couple riots.
Riots. Just
Bravo, blacks and Hispanics.
that one. You were there. I was there. That one.
A couple in the
A
gym.
yard. The gym.
Couple riots in the
Bravo
gym.
2. Charlie Yard. That violence doesn't compare to that other violence I was talking about.
So I was
Yeah,
gonna
of
ask you
course.
that right now. I was gonna ask you did any of the stuff that you saw there, working in an institution, any of the violence that you saw, did any of it affect you at all? Any of it flashbacks triggered anything?
The rush. Was there a comparison of the rush? Because of the excitement, maybe. Of course, you're not going to hear gunshots. You're going to hear explosions.
So if I have acquired trauma through my current occupation, I don't know where the last one stopped and the first one began. The second one began. You kind of understand what I'm trying to say? But I do know that from what I've seen initially in my military experience, that kind of over clouds everything. Fall Earth is a carnage. So none of that shit is normal. Let's make that clear right now.
Right.
At all. Right? Doesn't make anybody else less of a person or make me more of a person because of the different levels. It's all everybody's their own each individual to
Mhm.
each individually based situation. Let's just kind of put that out there.
Right.
Trauma, and I want to say this, man. Trauma is trauma, okay? And this is something I had to learn. Because I would go to the VA and I would hear people in the Air Force and the Navy tell their little stories, and it used to just upset me. And then I had to realize, like, hey, stop being a dick. Like, what they went through is what they went through. That
Right.
fucking affected them.
It's
That's
their trauma.
Their trauma.
Right.
All right? And that's what I had to come to understand. Now I'm very sympathetic and empathetic when it comes to that. And I'll even let people know, like, hey, dude, don't minimize what you went through.
Mhm.
That fucking impacted you. Because I've had the opportunity to help others get out of the hole that I was once in.
That's good to hear, because a lot of people are afraid to admit their trauma.
Correct. Trauma is trauma, man.
Because they feel like intimidated that, hey, I've heard about this person who was
Yeah.
deployed a few times or whatever. What is my little trauma compared to that trauma? You know what I mean?
And
then
that's sometimes that's a barrier for them, or an obstacle for them to go and get help, because they think, what I went through is not a big deal.
ain't shit.
But if it's fucking with you, it's fucking with you. That's the bottom line.
So one thing in relation to that is I got invited to go to a Wounded Warrior Project, like retreat, right? Retreat for warriors. And at that time, all I had was PTSD mental, you know what I mean? And I remember being at the airport with anxiety and just like, I'm not getting on this fucking plane. I'm not getting on this plane, because I think it was at Salt Lake City, Utah. And I'm like, there's no way. There's fucking, physically, I have all my limbs. Yeah, and like I said, it's early on, man. Like 06, 07. I'm like, but we touched down in Salt Lake City with other veterans, and then one dude is missing his arm. He was like the lead guy. And we would do like our little kumbaya circles at night, and which was good, man. Surrounding yourself with people that are going through the same shit as you in a positive manner, not bringing each other down, is a good outlet, right? And I kind of told the crowd, like, hey, I kind of felt bad. I didn't want to come. I had anxiety at the airport because physically I have everything, and like there's other people here without limbs. And he's like, hey, man, check this out. My arm is fucking gone. That fucking thing is never coming back. But my mind has been fucked up since I got blown up. I still to this day wrestle with those fucking demons of what I went through. And that put things in perspective to me.
Mm-hmm.
That mental health is huge. And I know that you guys talk about that your focus is on that.
Of course. So going back, you're at your initial institution for 8 years. The whole 8 years you're there as an officer?
Yeah.
And then you eventually promote, correct?
Correct.
And you move to another institution close to the beach somewhere, away from this heat,
Mm-hmm.
and promote as a sergeant.
Yeah.
What's it like? What's your first
Greatest
experience?
job ever.
8 years, one of the best institutions in the world, and then you move to another institution that is painted in a picture as a, one of the best places to work due to the being close to the beach and whatever, and it's amazing.
Well, the residents.
Fuck you, bro. Don't be saying no residents.
Residents.
The population.
The population, or not the population that we are used to.
Not the population. I'm talking about your peers.
Peers. They're cool.
Yeah.
It's cool. It's different vibe. I mean, like different areas, different.
Because we know inmates are inmates.
Mm-hmm.
They're gonna do what they're gonna do, no matter what. Whether they're
Yeah. They were like open. Well, there was kind of. It's always one of those things like, oh, you came from there. You're probably no good because you came from there, right? But once you talk, I mean, fuck, man, it's communication.
Mhm.
Basic talking is like, all right, cool. You establish those relationships. So yeah, I asked a lot of questions, like a normal,
person.
competent, smart person would do
Yeah.
in an area that is unknown to them.
Yeah.
Right? I didn't go in there fucking swinging a hammer and fucking shit up. Some common sense on that.
Yeah. And what would you say what was your best and your worst as a sergeant? Your best experience and your worst experience as a sergeant?
The worst experience was one of my officers got stabbed in the building, and I had 3 months as a brand new sergeant. The inmate tied a weapon to his hand and proceeded to stab the officer numerous times, and then force was utilized, and I responded. And then that was kind of like, ah, damn, man, this is what happens over here? Like, is this fucking normal? You know what I mean? Because that was, and they're like, no, that's kind of rare. But that was an eye-opener. It shouldn't have been an eye-opener, but it was an eye-opener. I think the fact that he tied the weapon to his hands fucking took it to the next level.
Yeah.
That's old school shit.
But this wasn't an old school dude.
That's what I'm saying. That's kind of. I mean, I that was stuff that I read about when I first joined the department. That was the old school way of
What
doing
type of
it.
inmate is this? Is this like a mentally?
Yeah. He was
disturbed or
fucking,
whatever?
he was on meth for like the last 5 days and just spun up his own little fucking story and just went nuts.
Wow.
Which that population is way more dangerous as far as impulsive and no rhyme or reason you're gonna get attacked.
Yeah. Got no ration.
No, it's just and they don't have to ask for permission. Doesn't have to get sanctioned.
Oh, I get it.
You know what I
Meaning
mean?
inmate politics.
Correct.
Yeah.
They don't answer to nobody.
They just act on their own and it's on their
They're
own.
just
And
free agents.
And that's probably the problem with those type of institutions, not that institution in general, where a certain incident may happen to, and it's probably against staff, and admin could take it as this is isolated incident.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of times it is, because like you just said right now, right? This is a person acting on his own. This is an inmate acting on his own. It wasn't sanctioned or nothing. Doesn't matter the race. Doesn't matter what part of gang they're from or whatever, prison gang. So that's why a lot of times we take it as with a grain of salt, because, and like in this instance, an officer's attacked, stabbed, hurt by a certain group of inmate or an inmate who belongs to a certain group or belonged to a certain group
I don't think this dude ever belongs to nobody.
or whatever the case may be, but we won't shut down the yard anymore. Do you know what I mean?
That was about that. That's right.
Now it's like maybe a 1-2 day thing,
2 days.
right? 1-2 day thing, quick investigation. Hey, let's get the fucking,
You already know it.
all right, let's get the shit rolling again. Isolated incident. And this is where a lot of us get a heartache, because way back when, maybe just as soon as 10 years ago,
More than that.
right? 15 years ago, something like this happened. You're talking about a month minimum, right? A month minimum. Slam it. Let's figure it out. Let's go and search everything. All right, this guy has a weapon. There might be more weapons out there. Let's slam this yard. Let's slam all the yards. Let's bring everybody over here. Let's search everything. Let's do everything by the numbers. Can't do it anymore, right? Thanks to certain laws.
Well, I'll do you one better. Talking about different environments from one place to another. What should have been the right thing to do with that one individual?
The inmate that
The inmate.
did the
Yeah.
assault.
Ship them out.
Exactly. Well, guess what didn't happen?
Did not ship them out.
Correct. So
Ship them out, meaning those are listening that don't understand the shipping out is
Transfer him to another
transferring to another institution. Maybe something nearby. In that case, possibly
And why is it a good reason to do that, Danny?
emotional ties.
Not even that. I mean, if you just want to take a textbook answer, the safety of the officer. If the officer is going to continue to work there, that should be taken into consideration. I mean, our safety counts sometimes.
Not only that, the allegations that can be made, like, hey, we're messing with him,
Right.
antagonizing him,
Retaliation.
retaliatory, right? So that was another eye opener. Like, why is this guy still here? Why is this guy still getting in issues in this place? In this place, just causing wherever this guy went, he caused a scene. And the simple answer would have been to ship him out.
But this apartment works.
Well,
So
I
that
think
was
that's
your
like
word.
you said. It's like the way that it changed. It's I want to say it for us. It was somewhere around 2003, 2004, right up until 2005, when that term, that isolated incident term, came out, and lockdowns became a thing of the past, and self-feeding for months, years at a time, all that shit just became a thing of the past, where it was just all these lawsuits caught up to us, and it no longer, that was no longer the optimal way of dealing with those types of situations in the eyes of the people that were making the decisions. So somewhere around that time is where you saw that shift, where officer was beat up. That was like a month long lockdown. Now you're talking an officer stabbed, attempted murder.
2 days.
Attempted murder.
Attempted murder on a peace
Right.
officer.
2 days, right? So, yeah, I don't know how to. I can't justify that. I can't rationalize that. Doesn't even feel like you could conduct a thorough investigation in 2 days into what happened.
Mm-mm. All right, so that was your worst experience. What was your best experience as a sergeant?
Promoting to lieutenant.
That's
That's what I was gonna say.
Okay, let's talk
I
about
don't
that.
know. I don't know. I don't know
So
about
you
man.
promote after how many years?
Well, I was a sergeant for a total of 3 years. Okay, 2 of those years I was a sergeant, and 1 of those years I was an acting lieutenant. Still technically a sergeant, but I rolled right over from acting to picked up.
Okay.
And yeah, so 3 years, kind of timed it good.
What
Yeah,
was
that's
that
kind
like?
of that's kind of like the fucking grunt work, dude. The shit work, you know what I mean?
The
Fuck.
sergeant?
Oh, absolutely.
I don't know. Is it?
Oh, there. I'm telling you, there, bro. Like, you have to understand, it's 2 different worlds.
Yeah.
2 different worlds. They don't.
Yeah,
have
I mean, I hear and my my hats go off to all the people that work there, all the officers, sergeants, lieutenants that work there, and they got to deal with it day in, day out. With those type of institutions, because it's just, you got to understand, GP is GP settings and SNY settings are probably a little bit different than the EOP and other medical, right? And because I hear it's not just on that specific institution, I hear it all throughout. When I go to these trainings, I hear these horror stories from other medical facilities where you're dealing with people that are always, they're not on the right side of mind. And it's a continuous issue with this particular inmate, right? Always an issue. Like, oh yeah, I know, they always have names for these guys too. Like, inmate so-and-so, oh yeah, fucking, you're talking about fucking, sausage fingers or whatever. Yeah, he fucking did what? Oh, that doesn't surprise me. Last week he did this,
Yeah, they're doing some pretty wild shit, man. Like sticking paper clips where you shouldn't be sticking paper clips.
Like probably the tip of the penis.
Yeah,
Mhm.
just doing some wild stuff, man. Feces. That's not shit that I dealt with over here. You know what I mean? Like, it's just different. Inmates cutting themselves. That was a shocker to me. Like, I don't like to see that kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Or self-mutilation. So that was, and I'm still really not cool with that. Well, I'm definitely not cool with that.
Yeah.
But it's, man, seeing another person like slice themselves up is kind of not
Sickening.
normal. It's sickening.
Yeah. Well, let's talk about the lieutenant part. Let's talk about why we're here today. What because there was a build-up, right, in your career. You become a lieutenant, and you and I, we always went back and forth, whether it was over the phone, emails, not emails, it was mostly text messages, and even phone calls, and even got the opportunity to go to a training just as recently as, a year ago?
Mm-hmm.
And but I remember hearing the excitement from you, from being a lieutenant, from being appointed in certain positions, having the ability to have, a good group of guys and girls working under you. So tell us about that experience and then what changed.
You were at the pinnacle of your
Yeah.
career.
Call 'em fucking golden children
I-
or
golden
golden
child.
boy or
I remember that too. So what year did we meet?
Over there?
2018, 2019,
27 or 18? 18?
18 maybe. So, and I remember meeting you,
Yeah,
and I remember asking around, and I was like, "Oh, that's that guy Hector."
Who the
Oh,
fuck is
okay.
this guy?
I was like, "That's that
Bravo.
guy Hector, right?" Yeah, okay, I remember this guy. And I remember you were like that. You were like a
Like a fucking bottle
you were
rocket
like a
waiting to
rocket
explode.
going,
Matter of
to,
fact,
going to the
I
moon.
had a recent picture pop up where you're wearing your pink patches.
Yeah.
and you're with all the fucking.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
man.
You're with everybody. Got your bars, pink bars.
Here
You're
we
with,
go.
you're with some big people.
So, in this career, right? I've always had those aspirations to promote, right? Well, I take that back, man. I never wanted to promote to sergeant. I didn't. My goal was to be an officer for 30 years and then hang it up, right? But then I started getting people over me that I didn't want over me. I started, I'm like, oh, fuck no, that person can't be in charge of me. And then all the old school cops were like, hey, you should promote, because I regret not promoting. You ain't got shit coming right now. You're new.
Why not have shit coming?
So why not have shit coming? So
and paid a little bit more? A
couple sergeants told me too, like, hey, you should promote. So fucking, all the totality of the circumstances. Hey, after 8 years, fuck it, why not? So that was that, right?
Which is a good time.
It's about right.
Yeah,
You know,
it's abnormal these days, but
but some are smarter.
But what can you do though? We'll come back to that. I was gonna say, what can you do?
Yeah.
What can you do when you know?
I'm not knocking them in. It
Yeah,
is
what
it
can
is.
you
It's
do
a-
when you have
it's a
10
system.
people with 10 years in, 12 years in? They don't want to fuck. They don't want to touch that shit.
Well, so
You get stuck with this guy.
like I said, I didn't always want to promote, but once the ball was starting, and then I saw your career take off in certain aspects, I looked up to you in a sense, like, oh, this dude, I known him since kindergarten. This dude's doing that. You know what I mean? This dude's doing it. Fuck it, I'm gonna do it. Right? Put the foot on the pedal. So it goes and it goes and it goes. Well, careful what you ask for. A lot of changes. I mean, I've been through, in my 8 years, 5 different heads of the
Wardens.
main seat.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So that's kind of a fast turnaround rate. And yeah, at that, I got asked to be, I got called up to the front, right? And I'm like, oh, fuck, am I in trouble? It's like you always think, am I in trouble or whatever. So I fucking get there. You got the number 1 and number 2. They're like, hey, we're canvassing for certain lieutenant positions. So yeah, I've heard. Well, what have you heard? Well, maybe IST, maybe ATM. And I drew a blank. And he's like, PIO. I'm like, oh, fuck, PIO. Like, yeah, you interested?
Public information officer.
The retro rockets turned on.
Let me tell you
what
what I felt at that exact moment. I felt like a Southsider that just got pushed a shank and told to go stab somebody. I'm damned if I do, and I'm damned if I don't. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I was already on a management spot, in a good cush spot, good cush yard. Tuesday, Wednesdays, can't complain. Great yard though, like as far as shenanigans, minimal. So if I say no, he's fucking moved. I'm getting moved. So I said, yeah. I said, yes. You will? Yeah. And people are gonna start talking shit, blah blah blah, blah blah blah. I said, hey, sir. Yeah, I said, yes, I'll do it. And part of the military, part of the professionalism, yes, sir, I'll do it. Boom, right? And that's how that started right there. That
made you an offer you couldn't refuse.
So then, I believe the dude was fishing for some information. Right. And there was some other shit going on. So 1 week later, he offers me another spot. And I said, no, absolutely not.
What is this spot?
I'm not going to say the spot, but it's an elite, a specialized unit, like in charge overseas, right? And I'm like, no, absolutely not. Not going to happen. So you know what the fuck that's going to look like? Yeah, I wouldn't do that to you, fucking blah, 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 blah. Go home, tell my wife, hey, like, can you believe this dude? This dude offered me this spot. She's like, fuck no. You know what they're going to think? Right, our peers. They're going to think you fucking got in that one seat. You, like, threw people under the bus or whatever it is, whatever they think up, and that you obtain that other position as a result of that. I said, yeah. I said, no.
But during this time, there's other shit going on, right? And that's why it was offered to you?
Correct. Technicalities, we'll call it.
Okay.
That specialized unit was in turmoil.
Turmoil. Technicalities. That's how that one position became available, or in the process of becoming available. It's a wild place to work, man. A wild place to work, and a lot of allegations, a lot of scrutiny, a lot of this and that can misconstrue a lot of things, man. It's not fucking, from point A to point B. They will cross everybody up and just make shit up on their own. Frivolous is the word I like to use. So he asked me again, and I'm kind of like telling everybody else, like, hey, this is what's happening right now, just so you guys know. Like, this is fucking, just so you guys know. So like, you know what I mean? I kind of gotta protect myself, because I still have a lengthy career to go. You know what I mean? This dude's probably stint's gonna be up in a year, judging by everybody else's predecessors.
Record.
He asked me again. Said no. The answer's no. Not doing, like, I'm cool right here, like, right. And at that time, it kind of was cool, and nothing had gotten too far out. You know what I mean? When you're in an abusive relationship, they don't start whooping your ass the fucking first night at the bar, you know? So
It's a process.
the whole thing with COVID kicked off. We opened up the ICP, and
That's the incident command post for all you non-law enforcement military types.
I had never really had an experience with that, so it was really good. We had one of your guys come over, show me the ropes, so credit to him. I was new as fuck to that side, management and or those type of situations. So this person, number one, pulls me into his office and tells me, hey, I'm going to have this person start off, and at some point I want you to take over. And I'm like, okay.
The incident command post.
Yeah, because we had everybody in there, and it was giving the direction of up above us that was being passed down, disseminated down to the lower levels, right? So he said, this is going to kick off, and at some point you're going to take over. Cool, got you. Got it. That's what happens. Talks, and then I jump in, I start going, doing my thing, saying my this and that, and I could see in the threshold, I could see their heads going up and down, right? Like in agreement or content, this and that. He fucking calls me into his office afterwards. He said, I always knew you had it in you. I finally got to see it. He's like, go home, talk to your wife, and give me an answer by Monday. So in essence, he was asking me the third time for that one spot. I said, sir, the answer is yes. Yes. You know what I mean? Because I kind of, you feel
The pressure.
Yeah, this dude is not going to be happy if you continue to say no. Not that I cared or didn't care whether he was happy or not. It's just it was starting to get awkward, right? You know what I mean? So I'm like, yeah, I'll take it. He's like, no, go home to your wife, talk to her. I was like, all right, cool. So fucking yeah, go home, tell her, hey, that's a wrap. Like, that's it. And then that's when I took over. But even that in itself, just the way that it looked, it was off to a bad start.
With
it
the
was
team.
Correct. The perception, it was just off to a bad start.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So you were wearing both hats?
Both hats, man. And that was, yeah, it's fucking stressful.
And I remember we had
Stressful.
many talks when you took over.
Yeah.
And how stressed out you were.
Stressful.
And at the time, I'm trying to reach out to other guys from that unit as
Mm-hmm.
well. Trying to tell them, hey, wants help. Because I know you're looking up to a lot of those guys that already had the experience. You reached out to us so we can help in any way possible. And that's what I like, man, because we were excited that you got the position, not just not to knock anybody off from them, right? But you have to consider that nobody from there would ever reach out to anybody else. It was always like its own little world. It was always its own little island, you know. And we always thought like it would be cool if we can do something together, maybe pass information, set something up, and I believe one time we did. Like
Yeah, we did do that.
But it was with somebody else, and now I always wish, and I continue to hope that we can have that relationship or establish that relationship where we can just continue and do something together. But I remember you reaching out, and that was big because during that time, now I'm going to these academies that will receive that, and everybody's talking about that. Like, oh, hey, what's up with this group? They're like reaching out. That's amazing. That's great.
Okay,
That's
yeah,
great.
I
We're
remember.
hearing this.
Yeah.
Because before it was nothing but
I asked, yeah.
it was always either white or black. It was either good or bad, right? It was nothing in the middle. But the whole mentality at that point was, hey, it's young. It's a young team. There's a lot of growth still, and there's still a lot of information to pass on. on both sides. There's got to be a communication that's got to be built. So, you know, I don't know how you took it. Did you have a meeting with them, or how did?
Yeah, it went all bad, dude. It's just bad, man. I mean, you could just imagine. Well, you know, I did make some changes. I made some changes instantly, immediately. I have my reasons, this or that, or why or not. You know what I mean? And those decisions were unfavorable, to say the least.
Was it because who you were?
That too.
Was it because of how you obtained
That
the
too.
position? Was it because of your lack of time in it?
Oh my god, yeah, dude, that agitated me though. Like, yeah, your brand spanking new. Like, how can you take that seat? I'm like, oh my god. Yes, I am new to the seat. However, like, I'm not some fucking new individual. Like, you know what I mean? I had already in experienced a lot.
Professionally and even in your military life.
Yeah.
Because no denying, like,
And yeah, no new person, and I'm not. I agree with him. No new person should ever have that seat. But those circumstances, I just told you how that went down.
yeah.
You know what I mean?
And they didn't take it in. And it was like they didn't take it into consideration.
Oh no, man! Like,
They were like, you should have just kept denying.
no,
and
that's
you're
what they
like,
say. You
yeah.
should have just said no. You should have just said no. And it's like, okay, I fucking say no, but yet, as you said, I reached out to you and you guys. But I know I have the potential to build bridges and network and
Move the team forward
move
at
forward.
the end. Yeah. Establish, you know.
'Cause I'm not shy to ask for help, man. And I explained, like, with Sergeant First Class Villanueva, that dude was in the engineer platoon. We were infantry. I'm used to working with other individuals. Even where I work at now, we're working with medical. We're working with mental health. We're working in. I think the mindset was just different. I think it was. So the whole thing was unfavorable.
So you take over. Not a lot of people are happy, but nonetheless, you assume
Not everybody was unhappy, but the majority was
yeah.
like some content.
there was a group.
Yeah.
But at the end, you continued. You took over the responsibility, and what transpired?
Whew, man, dude, it was COVID, it was PIO, it was that one position, and it was that regime. I'm gonna refer to it as the regime. It was that regime where they just went fucking nuts. They fucking went nuts. And people ask, like, well, so you got a person fucking going off the charts, right? Like Hitler. That's a well-known figure that just did his own thing, right? You got somebody acting equivalent, and I'm here, their right-hand man.
You're Hitler's right hand man.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
that
they'll
sucks.
they'll ask, like, well, how is it? Well, like, how the fuck do you think it is? Like, sure, the job has some perks, but do you really want that spot?
Yeah.
Was it enough for me to ask and to go back to the line at that point? No. At that point, there was a point.
But there was a point when you did feel like you were just like, that's it.
Oh my god,
Yeah.
it got fucking bad, dude. Like,
Because it seems like I know what you mean. It seems like you're on the same car.
no, you are.
Yeah. But you don't have the same
No, I
mindset.
didn't
You don't
have
have
the
the
same-
same
no,
thought. You
and
don't
I-
have the
and I-
same
and I-
goal.
And I made that extremely clear. My first
Because-
day.
Because I mean, to explain car, you know, every department, every law enforcement,
organization, I
every
think.
organization has a car, has a group of people, right? And you're talking about the head of that institution, who had a group of people, and everybody knows about it because we heard about it on the news, we heard about it via social media, we heard about it via the late relief, we heard about it via everything, you know, of how that place was being ran by a certain individual. But you land on that car.
San Diego Times,
Everything.
lawsuits, civil lawsuits that are public record.
And it's probably going to be drug out still. It's probably still ongoing. It's probably going to be ongoing for a minute.
EO complaints, calls to the whistleblower hotline, labor.
And here you are.
fair
And
labor,
you're- and
housing.
And
You're
you're
the
there,
first
part of
line
the
of-
fucking sandwich of this
And-
Yeah,
bullshit.
you're the first line of defense. You're
and all
hearing
these
all that, right?
And all these complaints are falling on deaf ears.
Let's talk about that car. What is it really like? You're because we're hearing. I'm outside looking in. There's a lieutenant or an AW or somebody that retired, and he threw this fucking letter, and it was a
Scathing letter.
yeah, and it was like a spill the beans type letter, right? What was it, like AW?
Mm-hmm.
Right?
They retired.
He retired, and he's like, boom, here you go, like a
Last
big
day.
old mic drop, big old fuck you to the world, right?
So I was looking over the shoulder of one of the acting captains when that shit went through, and I saw him like, oh fuck, bro, print it out. And I knew they were gonna get rid of it, right? So
Yeah.
he fucking prints it out, run to the printer and get it. And what he said in that was factual, okay? And we are all smart enough to know what line gets you in our line of career, but so we don't lie. We tell the truth. And what was said in that letter was factual, okay? And how do I know? Because I was fucking there. We were there. You guys have to understand something. And I tell the troops, and I tell them now, I think we allowed shit to get as bad as it did for two reasons. One, we were in shock that it was actually happening. Two, we actually had hopes that they were going to get held accountable. And they didn't.
But people were speaking up.
Okay. Would you say it's frowned upon to file complaints in our department?
Hold on, I want to go back up to what you said right now. I want to that really like resonates with me. That you guys had that
I'm gonna
mentality.
turn it up with this fucking
you-
crown.
that you had that
Crown
mentality.
apple, baby.
The second one, where you were almost sitting back hoping like,
For it to end.
yeah, you're like, man, I hope this is so fucked up. I'm gonna write it out in hopes that this person gets raked over the coals for what they're doing.
Justice served.
Okay.
Being unethical, immoral, right? And I am fucking huge on values. You guys started, I started
Yeah.
speaking recently. I'm huge on values. All right, I need you guys to understand that there's a difference between being discontent and unhappy of what your supervisor is asking you to do, like, hey, fix this spreadsheet. I want you to put a number 1 here instead of a number 2. That's not immoral. That's not unethical. It's just his way of doing things. I'm talking about targeting individuals, retaliating against individuals, harassment. And the list goes on. But you guys are catching my drift now? What's unethical, what's immoral, and what's just a supervisor's discretion? And it's fucking sickening. It's fucking sickening, honestly. Yeah, and there I am, sitting in the right hand, sitting in the right seat, you know. So the
Hoping that this just fucking
a lot of disbelief, a lot of shock, bro. Like a lot of.
goes.
So
poof on
don't get me wrong, bro. People, I heard it. They were telling me, oh, this dude drank the Kool-Aid. This dude's on board. This dude is
Right.
in the car. This dude is just fucking loving it.
Talking about you.
Yeah, but don't get me wrong, bro. I'm not a fucking idiot. I'm not gonna stick my head up in the middle of an ambush and start looking around.
Well, you're like the.
You know what I mean?
It's like you're like we use that car analogy, and I'm picturing you like a. You see him driving all
Opening the back
drunk,
door.
and you're like in a car seat, and you're just like,
With your
"Fuck,
fucking Beats audio and just
what can I do?" Like,
bobbing your head
like-
back and forth to
and
Tupac or some shit.
I gave advice. I gave suggestions. I gave recommendations, and nothing. I even elaborated. Hey, like I got the troops' ear. Like we can change this place for the better. And
nah,
that is not the direction it went.
Nah.
That is not the direction.
fuck you talking about?
Okay.
And good cops, man. Good fucking cops. Good cops, good sergeants, good lieutenants, good acting captains, good people got their fucking heads chopped off. That's what hurt. Dudes that you knew were good, dudes that you knew were solid, dudes that you knew were morally and ethically right, that just didn't, they just got collateral damage. a lot of collateral damage. And it's fucking even, I don't even know how we're speaking on this right now, how that even transpired. How that was allowed
To happen.
to happen. Allowed for that long.
Can you elaborate more on what happened? We're
And-
talking about we're talking about people getting their heads chopped off, people losing their jobs, people getting demoted,
a lot
people
of-
losing money.
investigations, man, it's like they fucking it went nuts with the investigations, the allegations, the
So to
They-
put a light on the investigations,
they-
this person hired a group of people to come over and
They-
pretty much investigate anything and everything.
Would it
Correct?
look, would they painted a broad brush around on those people and said everybody is bad, everybody is bad. They all must either be eliminated and or they used the word culture,
The culture.
but that was not it, right? Because not everybody was bad. Are there bad apples? There's bad apples everywhere, man.
Right.
Everywhere. That's not what we're talking about here. We're talking about how they lumped every good. Could you imagine what that did to morale? I mean, the morale
Yeah.
was non-existent, and putting them through. It all started. Fuck it. I mean, there's certain areas in facilities that are important. I mean, central control, right? They got numbers. They got this. You got the central operations, the watch. They take calls. Who's calling in sick? You got, ATM. You got this and that. So you have to understand those two were not acting alone. The work was getting carried out by the people under them at their discretion, and there were people carrying that shit out. And in the first thing that fucking kicked it off was they blew up the watch. Every first, second, and third watch.
Called off.
No, they removed them from their post.
Sergeant, the
Oh,
watch commander?
okay.
No. All watch officers, all watch sergeants, and lieutenant got removed from their posts under an allegation that they were taking gifts and gratuities and
For overtime and all that.
Yeah.
Which was true or untrue?
I mean, you got some of the same people there back, so I mean, would they
Untrue.
Huh?
So it was untrue.
Well, if you got some of the same people back there, would it make sense to put them back if it was true?
Yeah, you're right.
And like I said, I'm only saying the truth here.
Mm-hmm.
But let's talk about an operational standpoint. Like I said, I was in the military. Let's say we were in a fucking airplane, right? Would it make sense to pull your two pilots out of the fucking pilot seat and be like, "Hey, Joe, get up there and fucking drive
Steward
us"?
1, Steward 2. Come drive this shit.
What do you think that did to the institution?
Fucking.
It fucking crippled it.
It started. The car now has only one operational wheel.
It's a unicycle.
It fucking crippled it, and that was the beginning. Now I feel kind of, oof.
The release?
Yeah, dude, what the fuck? Like honestly, hadn't been heard.
Yeah.
And only speaking the truth here. So help me God. And a lot of my buddies, a lot of good people. I mean, you could tell in their face. And what the message sends. The message that was sent was, don't go against the grain. You go against the grain, and it was just constant, relentless, and okay.
Did the big staff assault already happen? Because I know a lot of issues started happening right when that happened.
Did it get hot in here, or is it?
It's a little warm. I'm asking because like, as soon as the big
Okay. So if you have two stewardess driving the fucking plane, what do you think is gonna happen to that plane?
it's gonna wreck, it's gonna go down.
That's what happened, right? I mean, it may have been all cool and shit. Like you think you have a badass plane, you want to polish the wheels and make it look it's like cool.
So plain.
Yeah, like hey, this is my plane. Well, your plane's about to fucking crash and everybody can fucking see it. And it just so happens that on a certain yard, one individual at a certain rank, high, created this open door policy with the inmate population. I'm getting sick just thinking of it. Something I've never seen before, where the officers would just walk through the front program door, tell the sergeant to fuck off, tell the
talking
lieutenant to
about-
fuck off,
not-
and walk straight.
You're talking about the inmates.
Yeah, the inmate.
The
The
inmates,
inmate,
not
the
the
inmate. I
officers.
said officers?
Yeah.
Yeah, the inmate will walk in, tell the sergeant to fuck off, tell the lieutenant to fuck off, and go straight to where he had to go talk. It's that open door.
Now, was it only a certain group of inmate, or was it all inmates?
Like to be fair and honest, all inmates.
Okay.
I'm not gonna put a 10 on this story.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm not. So yeah, it was.
This
and
one,
it's not a
this,
story.
I know I'm gonna get agitated because this certain individual
I
had
hear you, I hear
a
you, I
bad
hear you,
investment
I
in
hear
him. You know what I mean? Like, so
I hear you, but we're not gonna
Yeah, yeah.
cross any
you're-
thresholds here.
let's cross them, baby.
Nah, you're young, bro.
11 to go.
Still a young man.
You're a young buck in my eyes. The word empowerment. If you empower the opposite team, right? And I'm not even saying that we're two different teams, right? But
We have different goals. Environmental wise, you think about it.
I'm talking about like inmates and staff, right? If you start giving the inmates the empowerment, and the crazy fucking thing about this, man, is that my military mindset is like, hey, this person is wearing that, they must know what they're doing. They must, you know what I mean? There's no way that they're doing this. Like, giving that person more credit than deserved, right? And
Okay.
from sheer professional standpoint. And then you hear things, and this is why I advise everybody to document everything, because that's another reason why nothing really stuck, because everything was kind of just
I heard this. I heard that.
I heard, right?
I heard that.
And I mean, there's a lot of stuff that was documented and proven, but I tell people document. If they're saying this shit, document it. And make a copy.
Save it. That
Shit
shit get
tends-
lost.
Shit tends to disappear.
Of course.
So, yeah, there was a lot of that. That was a boiling point, ready to boil over. And when it did, it absolutely did. Nobody was surprised, and everybody was upset, to put it lightly. 2 cops almost got murdered
And going back,
brutally.
is this after or before the movement of the watch?
I just thought of something right now, so we should probably stop talking about that, because I think it's still like
Ongoing
I
investigation.
think no, not even that, just in a certain stage. But that was the watch was the first.
Okay,
The
that's
watch
what
was
that's what I'm
first.
saying.
The
I'm
watch
trying to
was the
establish a timeline between
The watch
two.
was the first.
Okay.
So, but then that happens, right?
Mhm.
And I'm the PIO, so I see the dude, right? I see him in the hospital, and I'm like, fuck, like, because the cops are my priority, right? And you never want to see him like that in that condition, and it was not cool. I made multiple trips out to the hospital, and yeah, that was a. You want to say brushed under the carpet, like under the rug, but that was like,
Well, let's be real, because this happened, and this
Mm-hmm.
isn't coming from you. It's coming from me. I know you're saying that there's already an ongoing thing.
mm-hmm.
Let's be real. The head of that place is homies,
protected him.
is friends,
Yeah,
their roommates, their whatever, from the person who eventually may have been the cause of this event. So
like I said, bro, I never.
so there's
seen-
a sense of protection.
I
So
never
that's
seen-
what you're saying. Like, it was brushed under the rug. It was kind of, hey, you know what?
as
Let's
a-
just move this guy to another fucking yard.
That's what happened.
Let's just move this guy to another yard.
I actually suggested that, and
When in reality, you should have demoted him.
No.
Worse, should have sent his ass to Tijuana or something.
let's,
You know how I feel about that person
let's
personally. Like,
let's rein him in here, Danny.
Danny's. We're not saying no names, bro.
No, I hear you. I hear
We're
you.
not saying no names.
I hear you, but so, and I go back to the shock, and I go back to there's no way that this is happening. Like, how the fuck are you allowing this? How are you allowing this? So when that email came out, that's what was touched upon on that email. I mean, it's fucking public record. So he was speaking directly to that email because everybody felt it. Everybody knew. It wasn't like want to hear staff assault or want to hear where, oh, what happened? Let's look at the facts. Let's look at the circumstances.
It was a buildup. It was
It was incompetence.
Number one.
Incompetence.
lack of experience.
Holy shit, dude. It was incompetence followed by so like let's say we put up encouragement. Let's say you put blindfolds on those stewards now that are driving the plane and you got the number one like, yeah. Woo! Take off, dude. You're doing good. Is he really doing good?
Keep going left. Keep going down.
So, encouragement.
It is getting hot in here.
So
Danny's like,
take us to the point.
Oh my god, bro.
I think we already treaded deep into some deep water. So take us to the point where you finally were like, you unbuckled yourself from the car seat. You unbuckled yourself from the car seat
Appreciate
that had
that.
one wheel. You reach into your pocket and take out your little tactical
Okay.
knife and break the window with your little,
All right.
you know,
let's
and then
go
you
there.
fucking jump out of the car. You
Okay.
do a roll.
So, what should happen after a major incident such as a attempted murder on a peace officer?
There should be a lockdown, an investigation.
All right. Well, how about I tell you they did a food sale with barbecue plates for those inmates in their new housing area after that incident.
get the fuck out of here, bro.
So, I tried to cancel it on my own twice. It got overturned, right? I finally get yelled at. And then I fucking tell the guy, like, hey, sir, I was fucking livid. I said, before I came up here, I told myself I would never sell my soul for this position. And he's like, you're not selling your soul. You're not going to hand out the barbecue plates. I'm personally going to hand out the barbecue plates.
Get the fuck out of here, bro.
So he basically tells me to shut the fuck up and stay in my lane, and that he has other number ones from all over calling him, wanting to start that program at their place. The barbecuing of...
This is the first I hear this, bro.
Oh, you're hearing it, bro. You're hearing it. And
You're fucking telling me that the warden from that institution said that shit.
I'm telling you, bro. So, right, and I made it a point to not even be anywhere near that barbecue setting or the plates. They got dispersed, right? And I fucking made it very clear. You don't want to do what you're about to do. Did it anyways, right? Like I said. So, you wonder how bad things got. What do you think the morale was?
I did not think it could get any lower.
So, well, let me tell you how when I decided to unbuckle. COVID, man, this is fucked up. This is really, really not even human-like, bro. My wife, dude, her sister got COVID, and she got hospitalized. That hospitalization got from bad to worse. She got put in the ICU. So in that time frame, one of my aunts passed away, or I took bereavement leave. Took 3 days, came to do the thing, and went back.
Mhm.
Within that week, bro, I'm asleep, and I wake up to chilling shrieks, and I'm getting like goosebumps, like screaming, crying, and I'm like, oh, fuck. My wife had gotten a notification that her sister passed away as a result of COVID. So I'm like, oh, fuck. Like, stress from those two positions, stress from everything that's happening at work, and then my wife, dude, like, fucking watching her in that, it's engraved how she was screaming, and like, my daughter was asleep in the room, and I'm like, fuck, I hope she doesn't wake up, because it was fucking loud. I jump upstairs, I jump up out of bed, I run downstairs, I get my state phone, and I text the warden, and I say, sir, just to let you know, my wife just received news of her sister passing. I won't be in tomorrow, and I may be in on Tuesday if everything is situated at home. You know what he replied with? Bring verification for both.
Wow.
Well, I'll admit that's not illegal to say something like that. It's not. It's not against a crime. But do you think about how fucked up that is? What type of person that is? So if I told you that this person was protecting this person, who the fuck do you think was protecting this person? And who do you think was protecting that person? I got to see a lot of things in my
Your position there.
yeah, and then anybody wants to like, what do you call it? Challenge? I got all the evidence. I got all the facts. I got all the proofs. I got all the copies. I'm not a dumb motherfucker. You know what I mean? And the majority of it's public record too, but that's just what I got. So that's when I made the decision to pull out. Like, fuck that. My wife is my fucking priority. My
Yeah.
family is my priority. Not that they were not my priority before, but it did. It got blurred, right? It got, with everything going on, the line got blurred. And then I never told my wife that he said that. Up until recently, because she's been seeing me really stressed at work. That, like I said, like, look, this is kind of what the fuck I went through during that period of time. And just for set the record straight, nothing has gotten better. Nothing has gotten better.
In that place.
Nothing.
Even with the change. This is how I felt with the change of head. I felt like other people were still running it. I don't know if that's
Yeah,
correct.
so there wasn't really a change.
Yeah, that's how I felt.
There's some changes that have not been made yet, right? And that's the problem. And they sure in the fuck wasn't the cops. It sure wasn't when you shuffled everybody and threw everybody around and turned them upside down. Wouldn't you think that would have fixed the problem? No, there's still problems in place, and we know who they are. They know who they are. But what are we doing here? What are we doing here? Is this what it takes? Is this what it fucking takes? That's kind of sad, far out, foul, unethical. Fucking inmates don't even act this way. The very own fucking people we watch don't even act like this.
Damn.
When did you leave
That's
that?
Deep. That's deep.
Yeah.
bro.
When did you leave that position, and where did you go to after?
I think I went back. To my spot. Oh no. So I fucking tell him I've had enough. Well, this dude would always like calling my bluff. Not calling my bluff, but like he would always say, I already told you, if you're not happy, you can fucking leave that spot. But I don't think he'd think I would ever take him up on it. So he fucking probably thought that I was like the rest of his dummies that, dude, trust me, I don't give a fuck about rank, title, or position. You know what I mean?
If I remember correctly, he was about intimidation. For the most part,
He was an intimidating individual.
but
Don't get me
that's how
wrong.
he tried to
It's
push
not.
shit around.
No, it's the power, bro. The power. If people are gonna listen to what that chair has to say, simply for being that chair, whatever he says is gospel. You know what I mean? Even if it's not. So you try to fight an uphill battle. You try to say that what you said isn't true, and that what he said is untrue. Who's gonna fucking believe you?
Yeah.
Who's gonna believe you? You're fighting a fucking. So that it's intimidation, but that enabling. And it's fucked up. It is, man. I didn't sign up for this shit. I made a lot of mistakes in my life, right? And this is why I'm so passionate and driven about this. Because I don't partake in that type of behavior. And to try to say that we are a certain way when we're not is fucked up and wrong. I mean, there are a lot of good people that got broken, bro. Like broken spirits, broken motivation. Like it. Workman's comp, sick calls, fucking long leave of absence, resigning, transferring, demoting. At what point did somebody...
Well, look at right now. You're talking about work comp, leave of absence. Look at what's happening right now. A lot of the neighboring institutions are preparing to send strike teams, right? just to anticipate the fact that people are not be going, they're not going to be showing up to work,
For the holidays or what?
pretty much.
Well,
And and I think they're already there. Or have they reported? They're
oh
supposed
yeah,
to.
they're there.
Oh,
They're
right.
there. If you're
Yeah,
talking about
they're
that, they're
there.
there.
Yeah.
And I've already talked to a couple kids, man. It's kind of, yeah,
You
I
know,
asked them.
they were forced to go.
Yeah, well, they did,
There's
they
a
did.
couple people that
guess
rose their hand. They wanted to go, but you know, more
Those
power
were
to
the-
them.
there was a youngster I pulled aside, right? Because they just look different. Fucking
They look out of place.
yeah, they uniform wise, and I'm like, hey man, you're a fresh set of eyes. Because this is what a good leader, this is what a good competent individual does, right? You're a fresh set of eyes. What do you see here that's wrong? Everything.
Yeah.
Everything. Said, would you say that yard specific is unsafe? Oh, fuck yeah, it's unsafe. What would you say on it? Like, it's a fucking free for all. Free for all for who? For the image or for the staff? Fucking everybody. And these are like, I said, look, man. Policy and procedure goes across the board for the whole department. There is not one set of policy and procedure for this place and like for this place. You know what I mean? I'm talking like certain big rules and regulations, right? So you have your safety, right? Your safety should be your priority, right? Know the rules and know when to protect yourself. And because that's how a lot of people get victimized. Watching, I'm telling you, they sent a bad message. They sent a bad message. And the message was heard loud and clear. For what? We didn't deliver that shit. And I'll be honest, I personally didn't get my head chopped off, okay? I didn't. So why am I even speaking on the issue? Because everybody else I did. For everybody else I did.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't get adverse. I didn't do this. I didn't do that.
So, career-wise, where are you at now?
Tired, dude.
Tired. 15 years in the department.
16, pushing 16.
Pushing
bro.
16. Okay, I'm not gonna. Okay. I'm trying to remember where you came in, where I came in.
Mhm.
All right,
Yeah, you got more time than me, but like,
a few months.
yeah.
And you said you're tired. Do you feel like maybe did you move up too fast? Did this place fucking just suck you dry? What do you think is giving you that feeling?
It was the hope of people being held accountable. My reporting of staff misconduct at that level. My formal reporting and nothing happening.
So you have reported.
Oh, absolutely. And that's another game changer. Like I said, that's not my style. That's not my type. I wasn't raised that way.
Right.
But when you see that it's affecting everybody else, and
Not that it worked. It didn't work. I mean, it worked in the favor that's documentation for me and then down the line or whatever, but
do you think there's something covering it up?
oh, clearly.
What is?
Yeah, I had a good buddy, man. I had a good buddy who no longer worked there. He said, you know what, man? Red card holders take care of red card holders. And yeah, and I was having a conversation earlier, man. I don't care. Dude, this is what you're not going to do. You're not going to hold us to this fucking standard over here and wring us dry while you're running a fucking muck over here.
Yeah.
You're not going to accuse us of doing this, that, and the other while we're not, and you're doing this, that, and the other. That's what the fuck you're not going to do. That's what I have a problem with. Does that make sense to you guys?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's either, hey, we're all going to be on the same playing field and let's do this, right? Or everybody knock off the shenanigans and let's focus on the mission, right? And fuck it, let's give these inmates a programs. I have never been against inmate programs. Like, in the beginning, yeah, you kind of look, oh, man, this and that.
They have a lot of shit.
Fuck it, that's not even what I'm tripping on. That's not what I'm tripping on.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not. So, yeah, damn, I feel good right now, man. Like, whew. No, maybe that's what I needed, dude.
Yeah.
Because how many...
Think of everybody in your
I'm not the
shoes,
only
though.
person that
That's what I'm
feels
saying.
this way.
Yeah.
So think about it. Right now,
Their voice is finally being heard.
yeah. And when they see it, when they hear it in the near future,
In hopes that that'll never happen again. In hopes that if you hear about a problem, identify the problem. address the problem, investigate the problem, inquire.
This is my thought on what I think happened with this individual who essentially kind of fucking run into the ground, right? Like you said, who essentially gave up the pilot seat.
There was a stigma. There was a stigma of that place, right? So that person came down with a mission and fucking destroyed us.
So this is where I'm getting
A
at.
stigma is just a stigma, man. It didn't mean that any of that shit was true or partially true or
Yeah.
it was, hey, these people are out of line, correct them at any means necessary.
Yeah, and this goes back, like, let's start it off at a lower management level. Let's say maybe a captain, where you hear certain things from the inmate population, a certain complaint, and the complaint's concurrent, right? It's always the same. So you as a captain, you want to be Mr. Referee, both sides, officers and the inmates. And you keep hearing this fucking complaint, so now you start taking the sides of the complaint, right? And you feel like, as a captain or as a lower level administrator, you know what? Maybe these inmates have a point. I'm going to start listening to them some more, right? This is what I think that happened. So this person always with that mentality, because he worked in different institutions, to include one of the ones we're at, and I got to see it, where walk on the yard, Stacey Adams, nice fucking suit, beautiful glasses, shaved head, nice trim mustache, clean shaven, will not say hello to any staff member to save his fucking life, but will come up to the max. It was always the max, right? And have a conversation. Whatever that conversation was, doesn't fucking matter. But whatever transpired, that information would never go on to the custody side. It was always an agreement between this person and the inmate population. Now, fast forward, moves up and is now the head of an institution. Still with that same mentality. This is, again, my opinion. This is what I think happened. Going to the institution, hearing nothing but bad shit, saying that, oh, hey, this place is trash, this place is this place is broken, there's a lot of stuff going on, and it's all because of staff, right? This is what I think that happened. So again, taking the side of the inmate, taking the side of those complaints and trying to find a remedy, and the fault is the staff, I think that's what eventually created that turmoil. I think that's what eventually created that issue, because I've worked in investigations where I'm investigating constant complaints on staff, and it's always the same shit, and 99.9% of the time it's a false fucking allegation, right? When you look at the totality of an investigation or of a complaint, it's always because this particular inmate got in trouble and now is doing a retaliatory complaint. That's 90% of it. 99.9% of it is fucking false. That's where we're at right now with this whole Ames, whatever. And now Ames is getting a bunch of shit thrown on him by OIA, because how are you not finding these guys guilty? Because Ames is finding that it's bullshit. A lot of this is bullshit. So going back, I believe that without any investigation, without any formal investigation, had this open door policy for all these inmates, as the fucking head of the institution, listen to the same complaint, right? Listen to the same complaint that has been happening, that is just the same fucking song over and over, and already having a how can I say it? Already having that mental note from before even arriving that this place was already shit for whatever fucking reason, and wanting to fix it by flexing, by creating a unit, a group of investigators to look into this. But let's find something wrong. We need to find something wrong. That's the wrong mentality. That's the wrong mentality, because as a former investigator, you need not to find something wrong. You need to find facts. You need to interview everybody. That's a whole different aspect of it. But this is, I think, the faults of this individual, of what happened. My opinion. And I think that's now it's completely fucking broken in so different areas because some people are still in that mentality.
Well, let me tell you something real quick. So you said what happened when that person left, right?
Uh-huh.
That person left, somebody else comes new. Those same fucking people that were causing destruction, all of a sudden had smiles on their faces and were waving. Hey guys, it was like Putin had just walked into Ukraine and wanted to be homies with everybody.
Yeah. And I know one of those persons, I'm so disappointed at that person, and now wants to become warden in certain institutions, and I hope that does not happen or hurt him.
But you know what I mean, though? Like,
Because it's
like
fucked up, dude.
you can't. That changing of back and forth is inconsistency, and that's what they teach us in day one in the academy. Don't be fucking consistent.
Firm, fair, and consistent.
Plus, once you pass a line, once you cross a line, there's no coming back from that. You can't. You've lost everybody's trust and respect.
What is this?
Water. But so when you ask me where am I in my career, I'm fucking tired, dude. All those I don't go to work to worry about the inmates, man. Like, it's not, the inmates are the easy part. Like, and I said that before. It's an incident happens, and I gotta think 5 steps ahead of the game. What are they gonna fucking look for? What are they gonna ask? Which is sideways and off the wall. You know what I mean? Not even. I mean, here's a track, and then we're just like, oh, there was a cloud going over there, and it dropped some water. Did anybody go investigate if that water was blood? The fuck? What are you talking about? What the fuck are you talking about?
You weigh that person?
Oh, there was a person in the parking lot. They could have heard the alarm. Did they write a report? What the fuck? You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
What are we doing here?
Yeah.
Are you just making stuff up just to make stuff up? So yeah, dude, I'm tired. Like, looking at options, looking down the road, looking near future. You know what? The changing point, the pivotal point with my daughter, bro. She's 4 years old. I look at her, right? And you want to talk about fatigue, this and that. So it dawned on me barely up until recently, man. This has been affecting my home life. I thought just because I wasn't going home and choking my wife and backhanding my kid that I was doing all right. But no, dude. The short temper, the always being short and always ready to snap back at dumbness. That's what it is, dumbness. Because I know policy and procedure, man. Not like the back, well, pretty damn close, like the back of my hand.
Especially in the PRO job.
I
yeah.
fucking know policy and procedure, bro. And this is what they like to use. Directives. Directives. Oh, that's my directive. But let me tell you something. That directive, the majority of the time, goes against policy and procedure. It's never really a written directive either. It's always just a directive. So, yeah, man, I thought, like, it's not worth it. Oh, I look at my daughter, and I'm like, I don't want her to see me coming home. I'm not going to show her that life. Go home to a job you don't like and come back, break your back for a boss you don't like. My parents did show me that life, and I thank them for it. But the 80s and 90s are over. We're in fucking 2022, man. Social media, networking, so many
Cameras
options.
everywhere.
You know what I mean? Like, we have options. It's not. And I was starting with like what I started. People have been reaching out to me from all over the United States. It's everywhere. It's everywhere. It's not just where I'm at. It's everywhere. It's a fucking plague.
In all professions?
Yeah, all
or,
professions.
Okay.
It's a fucking plague.
So you have to
That doesn't make it all right.
have gone, this is like probably the second biggest turning point in your life where you're at right now. Would you say that?
Whoa,
Because I mean, that's kind of what I'm getting at, because at some point you realized that you were struggling with your demons from Iraq.
Some point, yeah, when I
Right?
got in a lot of trouble, yes.
Right? And I know just from watching some of your videos and from watching some of the things that you've put on your Instagram that you at some point you were like, I need to stop drinking because you were doing too much of it.
I got
right?
12 years of sobriety for the
Right?
record.
Fucking
Big
outstanding.
congratulations, bro.
I had like 13 hours.
12 years, man. And I could not stop for the life of me.
So you realize that there had to be a change. So that's the first turning point. I think, right?
Correct.
And then, you're struggling with PTSD from your military service. And you learn to turn that as well too. But now
it's this.
you're recognizing again in yourself, right? Because like you said, I know that it's not just
My
me.
career.
It's not me coming home and freaking, hey, I'm not doing these things. I'm not coming home and freaking kicking my dog and fucking slamming doors and shit. But I'm doing these other things. And again, you recognize that, and you're like, okay, something's got to change here because
And I've identified the change. I've identified what I got to do. And you're right. And that's just, I'm not going to say how they say in Spanish, que me gusta la mala vida, but for me to change, things had to get so bad that I want to change.
Right.
My alcoholism had to get so bad that I wanted to change. My PTSD had to get so bad that I wanted to change. Now this career of mine got so bad that I am now in the process of changing.
Danny had mentioned shows a couple of shows ago, maybe dozen or so, about the 7-year itch in the job, or
it's every 7 years approximately.
I think, in my opinion, we've experienced where you're at right now. I've been in your shoes, even to the point where I wanted to quit. During my short 8 years as a sergeant, it got to the point where even my wife told me, just do 20 and get the fuck out. She's like, do 20, get the fuck out.
Find something else to do.
Find something else
till
to
you're
do.
50, whatever.
Come join me and sell houses and do this and do that. And it sounded good. You know what I mean? It sounded good. But then I promoted right after, or a little time after that. And now I'm like refreshing my career, per se, right? Barely almost a year into the LT gig. Still barely getting my fucking feet wet on that. I have an experience, you have experience as a lieutenant. You've done that for a few years already, a couple of years. So I can't even compare my lieutenant career to you. But what I think I can compare is that 7-year itch, that point where you're, like you said, there's got to be a turning point. Have you ever thought about possibly demoting? Have you ever thought about possibly going back to the line somewhere else? Or have you thought about changing something? Because I've always thought, like, once I'm LT, if I get fed up, fuck it, I'm gonna go back to first watch officer or transportation officer. And when I retire, I fucking retire with LT pay. Bye, bitches. That's how I feel, right? I'm enjoying the fuck out of it, especially where I'm at now, right? With a group of people, a group of admin staff, even admin staff, who are willing to help me, who are willing to allow me to spread my wings, who are willing to have me make mistakes, and they help correct it. You know what I mean? Like, they let you exercise your bars, your chevrons, your fucking star if you're an officer. I absolutely love that. You know what I mean? Maybe you need to change the scenery. I'm just saying, maybe. Because I talked to you, was it yesterday or something like that, and I'd said, come home, bro.
Nah, it's a wrap, dude. It's just it's a wrap, man. It's a wrap. Like, and I'm gonna be like, I ran numbers and shit. I talked to the people I had to talk to, and it's like good as far as like down the line, right? I'm not tripping on that. But the juice is no longer worth the squeeze, as they say. For what? And where I'm coming from is, I mean, I don't know how much time we have left. What are we doing?
We're doing 4 hours.
Until our bladders
fucking
burst.
hours, bro, till they kick in the door and fucking hog tie us. I mean, that's,
You're not in Iraq, bro.
no, so like I fucking tell I tell my officers this, man. I only care about 3 things in this order: your safety, making sure you don't get fired, and making sure you don't get me fired in the process. All right. But things have gotten so bad that their safety has been jeopardized too far. All right. We do scenarios. When we're on the yard, we do scenarios. Hey, youngster, if those 2 inmates start fighting, what are you gonna do? What's your radio call gonna sound like? Right? Where's the wind? Where's the wind sock? You guys want to hear a scenario?
Shoot it.
What would you do if an associate director went to wherever you guys are at and spoke to the supervisors, what did I call it earlier? A directive?
And
said,
give them a
"Hey,
directive.
hey, no, and in this scenario, the associate director is giving a directive saying, hey, you guys are no longer allowed to put handcuffs on the inmates because when they assault you, that's your fault. You escalated that situation."
An AD said that.
In this scenario.
In my fucking scenario, Ariel. Right? I mean, we're talking scenarios here.
Yeah, scenario. What would I do?
First, my head would explode
Well,
in my scenario.
I think I'd speak my opinion.
In this scenario, everybody spoke their opinion.
And this is the problem with people promoting way up to AD that they've never actually put anybody in handcuffs. They've never actually seen violence towards their peers, towards their partners.
Well, in this scenario, there was a little spill given that they did, in fact, in this scenario, that they did, in fact, experience that, which I kind of find hard to believe. If now, and I know how, I've been doing this long enough, bro. I'm not an idiot. The terminology they like to use is, oh, that's not what I meant. That's not what I said. They must have misconstrued my directives. They must have misinterpreted my direction. Oh, dude, there was 20 people. Everybody took it the same way. Right? And it's, I mean, we all have policies, right? We're talking about use of force, right? But we also have officer safety. We have penal code, right? We have case law. We have Graham versus Connor, right? That's why they pay us $100,000 a year, right? To be thinkers, not knuckle draggers.
Right.
How the fuck is it that we know more? We know more, right? I don't feel any pressure. Like, you can't dangle a certain rank of me and say, hey, you'll get this if you go tell these people that. No, I'm not going to do that because that's immoral. If that's going to lead to them getting killed or hurt, I'm not going to do that. That is immoral, unethical, right? There is no standing up for what's right. I know that what you're telling me goes against policy and in turn is going to jeopardize the safety of an officer that's going to get hurt or killed. Why the fuck is it so easy for me to say that?
Mm-hmm.
And other people that do say that, but like they can't or won't? Code of silence.
Doesn't exist. A lot of people think it exists.
So why am I tired, bro? Why am I done? Like, I think that was the last straw. That was the last straw. Like, I'm cool. I'm cool with that, man. I'm cool on that.
With you being tired, you've now ventured off to a new
brand new.
You open up a new company, Torment Tactical.
Mm-hmm.
You wrote a book.
I did.
Why didn't you fucking tell me you wrote a book? Well, how come I didn't find out till
Did
yesterday?
you bring us copies of your book?
You
Can
know
you-
what, Danny? I'll be honest. I got the books. They're down here, but I did bring you guys copies. Yes, I did.
Okay.
So that book, right? And I got to give credit to where that credit came from. Somebody told me, "Damn, bro, you have a lot of knowledge. You have a lot of experience. You have a lot of wisdom. These young cops are seeking that, yearning that. They don't have that, and they don't have that. Like, why don't you write a book? Why don't you just write like a list?" So yeah, I ended up writing a book.
If people in high school knew that you wrote a fucking book, bro, we would laugh.
I self-published my own book, bro.
I fucking love it, dude.
It's
If
on
people tomorrow
Amazon.
on our 20th fucking high school reunion, I'm gonna talk about your book, bro. You better bring that shit.
And
I'm proud, bro. I'm fucking so proud of you right now, dude. It's not even funny.
but you have to understand the motive. The motive is to help others.
Of course.
Don't ever let it twisted that I'm trying to either get famous or do this or do that, right? These young cops, because I could just clock out and be like, later, guys, fuck it, deuces, right? Like,
You still have something. You still have something left to give. I mean, I know you said that the what did you say, the juice wasn't worth the squeeze.
Yeah.
But you still got some. I think a little bit of juice left, and you want to leave them with
I
something.
want to leave them with something. So this book
Right.
is leaving them with something,
Okay.
right? And it's the old school shit. And I can't say old school because I'm not old school, right? But stuff that I've learned. So the basic shit, right? And I'll give you guys some. If two people are talking, right, whether it's an inmate and a staff member, you say excuse me before you walk through them, right? Just etiquette,
Simple.
prison etiquette. If two partners are talking, you have an inmate walking up behind them, behind you, right? You turn around. And I'm saying this because all that has gone by the wayside, man. Like, if you're eating at the podium and an inmate approaches you, like, hey, tell him, hey, come back when I'm done eating, right? You don't have to scramble and start doing this, start doing that, right? Another thing is don't badmouth your partner to an inmate, right? You're never going to do that. But I see it done.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, what do you call them? Tips, tricks, lessons, right? And safety. Safety's fucking huge.
So this book is geared towards people in our profession?
Young cops, bro. Even because you have policy and procedure.
Mhm.
You're brand new, right? You're being taught to follow policy and procedure. However, you have a higher rank official telling you to do something else that goes against policy and procedure.
What do you do?
Doesn't that confuse the shit out of a kid?
Yeah.
Luckily, I'm smart enough to know the difference. So, the kind of no, I didn't rewrite the fucking, the rules, but
It's just Hector Bravo giving tips on how to survive in the corrections world.
and I don't even know how you knew that I did that, but kind of keeping it on the wraps, man. Everything is in its phases.
In the infancy stage. So tell us more about.
You didn't know how what?
How you knew I had wrote a book?
Come on, man. I did my research, bro.
Can you talk more about
Torment Tactical.
Torment Tactical, or is that still?
So like basically, the way I feel is the way a lot of other people feel throughout the nation, right? And
Mhm.
my goal is to unite and network and bring us together. To like something has to change, man. Like I don't understand. They're saying that there's police staffing crisis, but they continue to do the stuff that they do.
Mhm.
Like what's gonna happen when all the cops run out, or all the cops leave their jobs, or nobody wants to do this anymore?
Mm-hmm.
And it's not for the bad guys. I never said that's easy. Cops and robbers is easy, man. It's all that other fucking shit
Yeah.
I just talked about for the last 2 hours. It's who's like. So yeah, that's focuses on mindset, right? Mindset, because mindset is huge, right? It teaches you like how to get ahead of the game. I gotta think 5 steps ahead of these people so I don't get caught up in a wreck. I got a daughter. I got mouths to feed. You know what I
Mhm.
mean? So that's another thing. Going to work every day. Am I gonna get fired? Am I gonna go under investigation? Why leave that up in their hands when I can take matters into my own hands? You know what I mean? Like if I'm in an unhealthy relationship, I'm gonna leave that unhealthy relationship. I don't have to take that.
And so Torment Tactical. I mean, you teach certain combat shooting.
There's a firearms instruction
It's a piece- I
portion.
was
So
gonna
like
say,
I've,
there's a
I've
piece of
it's
it.
just, this is a whole nother world, man. Like the whole
thing's mindset.
entrepreneurship, this whole elaborate, right? I always thought like you are just born into this way. This is how you're gonna be, right? And that's kind of what you're fed into. But even you doing this podcast, I see greater things for you, dude. You have that ambition, you have that personality, the creativeness, right? But you're kind of limited, bro. I know you're limited because of the circumstances.
Yeah.
I'm not.
Absolutely.
I'm not anymore. So once you eliminate the chains, you can be you.
Babe, I'm retiring tomorrow. No, I'm kidding, bro.
Yeah, dude. I'm bringing back that old happy-go-lucky Hector, fucking jokester, class clown, fucking dude, man. I miss that guy. It's been years. It's been years since fucking I've let loose. You know what I mean? And my daughter changed that. My daughter, I saw that. Like, I don't want to be that dude, grumpy old man. Like,
That doesn't like to sleep outdoors. So you got a rooftop tent. Perfect segue into my Instagram. It's Big Blue Rover. Make sure you follow. And I'll give
All right,
Torment
all right.
Tactical a follow. All right, see how I did that? I got to
Yeah,
work
like
that
you-
in. I got to
you
work
always
that
gotta
in.
work it in, huh?
Got to
Yeah,
work that in
there's,
somehow.
that's
Are you
it-
gonna-
that's it in a nutshell, man?
Is there going to be a negotiations piece to Torment Tactical?
Oh, are you inquiring?
I'm asking for a friend.
Yeah. Oh, so back to what I was saying, right? And there's entrepreneurship. They say do things that you're passionate about. I'm passionate about helping other people. I'm passionate about helping other people that are struggling. I'm helping about other people that have endured trauma and don't know how to get past it. Okay? The firearms thing, I'm not passionate about it. I'm just really good at it. Okay? So I thought I could incorporate it that way. Like, let's fucking shoot some guns. Let's talk. Let's fucking, you know what I mean? Like, and you have those people trying to get to the next level of shooting, whether you're brand new or, hey, let's move this bar to the next level.
Yeah.
And
That sounds
that's what I offer.
that sounds really cool, dude. I'm very happy that you
Appreciate that.
that you found that. Well, you didn't really find it, but you directed your energy towards doing something positive. You know, you could have just stayed stuck. You could have been stagnant.
So I had an epiphany.
You know what that means?
You know what epiphany means, bro?
She comes out at meow meow.
The
at
turning
2
point
a.m.
he's talking about, right? I quit drinking alcohol 12 years ago, right? I'm in a program that I can't really, speak on it, but it's a program that helps me stay sober. They have a certain way of life, right? Being good people, not kind to people, humble, and this and that. This career conflicts with that way of life, right? I'm always constantly having to defend myself, having to answer for something, having to answer for somebody else, and it's not working. I'd rather be cool, calm, and collective, like, without watching my back.
Feels like a huge weight has been lifted off of your shoulders.
I fucking feel good right now, bro. Like, I really do. And I know I'm doing the right thing because it feels right. My body feels different ways when something feels wrong. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And something feels right.
Well, I'm glad you were able to come out here and say it because I've been trying to get you on for a while.
You have, bro. But,
You know,
you have.
And I always felt like,
Well, I didn't want to come because I didn't want to fuck off my career. I didn't want to fuck off my opportunity for whatever reason. But
when I years ago, when I had written my fucking wish list as far as shows goes, I mean, you were on it, bro. You know what I mean? Like, people always ask me, how'd you start the show? Well, fucking 6 years ago, I started writing down a list of if I can talk and interview people, what would I do?
it's sad that we had to talk about this, though, man. This should have never been a fucking topic to have ever been discussed at all. We should have just talked about my upbringing, my struggles, my tribulations, right? Not that other shit we just talked about. It's unfortunate.
Yeah,
But
it
let's be
sucks.
real. Let's be real. Like this isn't. It's happening everywhere. It just doesn't happen in this place. It's happening many places across the state. You know, and right now we're fortunate enough that we can speak on it on a platform where thousands of people can listen to it, and then be like, "Fuck, we're not the only ones." And hopefully, those people that are affecting it can fucking change it or can have
Yeah, and
an eye-opening experience and be
Let's-
like,
let's
"I'm
get-
fucking this shit up."
let's give the answer. All right. So, hey, you just named up off the problem. What's the answer? The answer is the next person that takes that seat needs to go to the loneliest officer at the bottom of the totem pole and say, hey, what's the problem? How can I fix this? And actually listen to the answer and actually implement some changes with that answer. Go to that sergeant in the trenches. Hey, Sarge, what's up, man? Why is this all fucked up like this? Oh, well, this, and this. Oh, why does that look like that? This, that, and that. Is there anything that I can do with my powers that be to help you succeed in your job? Yes, sir, you can do this, you can do that. I don't know why it's so hard to fucking...
That seems like a pretty simple concept.
I haven't seen it the last 5 times. I'm waiting for it.
Wow.
Well, it seems like you need to promote
No, bro.
because you're pumping me up right now, bro. Like I always said, I'm gonna stay this LT job until my last 2 years and maybe promote. It looks like I'm gonna have to promote and go over there and
Seems
fucking
like
help them
seems like a
out.
pretty concept. So my advice to anybody out there, if you want leadership skills, right? Be a good fucking person. Period.
Leadership, you always gotta be a student, no matter what. You're always a student. It doesn't matter
Be a
what
good
fucking
person.
rank.
Be a good human.
Yeah.
If you mess up, say you're sorry. If
All
you
right,
don't
Hector.
know, what's up? If you don't know,
No, I'm just
ask.
thinking like
Yeah.
You know, like some of this, like the very simple concepts,
Simple
like
concept,
you said.
bro, but it seems
You know,
so
you do
fucking
something
foreign.
wrong, make a bad decision, admit it, take responsibility, and move on.
But let's look. I mean, fuck, man. Nick, you say be a good human, be a good person. Some of these people that make some very negative effects to this place don't see that, dude.
I know.
You know what I mean? Like one of them is now somewhere down here,
I get it.
and to this day does not fucking see
I'm gonna
the
save you,
wrongs
bro.
that this person did.
I'm gonna save you, Ariel.
We can
I get
only
it.
reach,
You know what I mean?
we can only reach the people that we want to reach. You know.
But unfortunately, a lot of them are up there. Like a lot of them
I get it,
are
bro.
in these positions where they don't see that shit. But okay,
That's neither here nor there.
That's right. You
Hector,
can only change yourself, boy.
you came on today with the mission. You came out on day with the story, and I think you've accomplished about 80% of it. Do you have anything else to say before we sign off? Do you think that you have said what you have said? Because I know we already talked, and you're going to continue, correct? You're going to keep coming on once in a while, right?
Yeah, for sure. Like that's what I said. Like I could kind of see like a future for us working.
Yeah.
For
'Cause,
sure, dude.
I
Yeah.
like
Collaborating.
This. Yeah,
That's
collaborating
what they
with
call it
Torment.
nowadays.
Yeah.
We'll collaborate with Torment Tactical and
Paid collaborations.
Yeah, man. And it's all in good faith. You know what I mean? And no malintent, no malicious, like helping of people.
I just didn't like that I had 2 referees today, bro. Like I wanted to fucking blow
I
off.
mean, we're here to save your ass, bro. From you.
There ain't no saving for me, bro. Nah, I'm kidding. Any
that-
final thoughts, Hector?
And that's what good partners do,
yeah,
right?
true. Hector, what are your final thoughts, buddy?
Thank you for your guys' time, for allowing that to happen. Like, damn, dude, I didn't rehearse anything. I didn't plan what I was gonna say. Just shooting from the hip, you know. I did skirt around certain areas, right? Because I'm here. I gotta protect you guys. I gotta protect the show. I gotta protect. We're professionals, man. I'm never gonna lose the fact that we're professionals. So, man, I don't see any changes. Honestly, I don't see any changes happening or this and that. But at least people know now. It's true.
Would
Danny?
you like me to give my final thoughts?
Yeah, man. I'm a fucking rant in the end. You can't save me.
Oh God. Hector, I'm very happy to have you on the show. We only met that one time briefly. It felt brief. Probably one of the longest 2 weeks of your
yeah.
career, mentally, anyways. But I'm really glad to have you. I was there on the last day, and I watched you, and I was like, man, this guy's he's got some things that he's dealing with still, So I'm glad that we got the opportunity to sit down and talk over all those things again, and just to get to know you better as a person. You're very insightful, and I'm glad that you're taking this big jump, and the reason that you're doing it is, there's no better reason, so I applaud you for it, and I wish you nothing but the best. And of course, if there's anything we can do to help you, we're always going to be here for that. But I think one of the biggest things today, just to listening to you talk, just what we finished up with is the simplest concepts of leadership, right? Is staying humble, getting to a point in your career as a supervisor or as a manager, and never losing that humility that you don't know everything, and that sometimes your best resources are the people that are working for you. And it seems like such a simple concept, something that I learned as a I'm only one step from the bottom, right? And that's probably where I'm going to end. I don't know. But that's something that I learned early on, and some of the best people that I've worked for set that example for me. I feel like our careers are almost opposite, where I've had, don't get me wrong, I've had some people who, I've had some, some less than great supervisors, but I've had some people that the guy that I work for right now, that is his mantra. You're the expert on this. tell me what we need to do. So simple, you know. Hey, you're the expert on this. How do we fix it? How simple is that, right? And if more people did that, I mean, fuck, I guess the world would be a better place.
And I don't want it to be misconstrued that I'm ungrateful or I don't show gratitude for this career. This career gave me things that I would have never achieved without it at all. A home, vehicles, vehicle after vehicles. It just got to a point where it got dark and ugly.
Yeah. So, yeah, that's where I'm at, man. Simple concepts of leadership. Learn them, apply them, and in whatever facet of life that you might have. That's it, man. That's all I got.
From my part, thank you, bro, for finally coming on the show. Like I said before, I've been trying to have you on for a while now. You know, very interesting to see you since we were kids, bro. Kinder, grade school, high school, fucking 105 pounds with your long hair and your skateboard, telling us exactly what you're gonna do, and you're doing it. Moving on, see you at the same institution. It was fucking exciting, and rocking and rolling together, exciting. To eventually seeing you move forward with your promotions, becoming a different person, and then even getting to the point where now I'm looking up to you. You're like, oh, well, this motherfucker moved up. That's crazy. I want to move up too. I want to be like this guy who has a level head. Because when you change your life around 12 years ago, you became a different person. And you know that.
I did.
You know that. To almost losing your fucking job, your career, to who you are today, I applaud you, bro. Like, it's a lot. It's a lot because there's still people struggling to this day who are veterans right now who work for the department, who were deployed when you were deployed, if not before that, still struggle to this day. And I've talked to those people before. And I tell them about your story. Like, hey, man, my boy, I never say your name, my boy went through the same experiences as you. And this is what he did. He eventually left the booze, whatever. I could never connect to the type of trauma that you guys experience. But I do know that there's a bridge, and you're that bridge at the other end. Where you're at right now, it kind of saddens me because I feel like you're going to leave, if whatever you want to do with this department, I think there's still a lot of people that look up to you right now. So I think at the end of the day, I get it. You have a family, you have your wife, your daughter, who beautiful, by the way. I always see you guys when you guys go out there.
Thanks, homie.
When you guys go out there, your fucking camping trips and shit, dude. Beautiful family, bro. But I always feel like we have a responsibility as well and a purpose in life. And our purpose in life right now in our careers is to show those youngsters that it's not always bad. It's not always dealing with, dumbass admin wherever you're at. It's not always with dealing with dumbass inmates wherever you're at. It's not all the time. Or always dealing with the negative environment in general on both sides of the wall. There's a way around that, and we need to learn to grasp it, to become adults about it, and move forward. Like, I think you can have that solution. I think you're almost there, and you need to learn to pass it down. I know you have it as a book, but imagine if you did it as a person on a different level. If you move up. That's how I feel, right? I've always said, like, I don't want to move up, but I think you're almost at that point, dude. This is my opinion, bro. Like, there's many ways around it. Take a year off. Fucking, if you're showing signs of corrections fatigue, which I think you are, go that route. Don't, you already said you shouldn't be too proud for PTSD. Don't be too proud for corrections fatigue. Because this shit is mentally fatiguing as well. You're already venturing off into something different, torment tactical. It's still within the LE world. It's still with the protection. It's still with the mentality or mindset of having your guard up. So I know that's never going to go away. So I challenge you, bro, from here on out to December 1st. It's a short period. Figure something out that you believe is gonna benefit you, your family, and everybody else under you, bro. Because it's not gonna be an easy decision at the end. I've been in your shoes. I felt like quitting. I felt like enough was enough. I've came crying to this guy a few times already. Hey, bro, what the fuck? Like, what? Fucking sweating from my pits and my hands and my feet. Drunk as fuck. Like, dude, what the fuck's up with this place? What the fuck's up with this department? Nobody can hear me. Nobody can listen. You know, whatever. Everything's a beatdown and nobody fucking cares. Well, there's always a light, dude. No matter what, there's always a light at the end of the tunnel. And I'm hoping that those listening right now who are feeling that way understand that. There's a lot of people that the reason we did this fucking show because of my feelings, because of his feelings, because of everybody that I would listen to, right? This isn't a show to be fucking coming out here and cry or whatever. This is a show to connect. This is a show to understand. Yeah, we say dumb shit. Yeah, I crossed the line. Yeah, I'll fucking borderline gonna get investigated or whatever. But that's besides the point. That's my fucking deal. At the end of the day, we're here to be real. You know, and we're real about our emotions. We're real about our feelings. And ain't no shame in it. And you put that you put that in perspective from the get. Nobody's trauma is bigger than anybody else's. So, Hector, thank you again for putting a big light, bro. Shining a big ass light. Probably one of the best shows that we had ever. And I've promoted it very lightly. However, we have maintained a lot of viewers, bro. Know that. So, thanks again. I am excited to see you again in the near future.
Likewise.
You need any help with this torment tactical thing?
Fuck
I know
yeah,
a thing or
dude.
two. I'll help you out no matter what,
That's
bro.
right, battle.
For
I love
free,
that
homie.
shit, dude. I like it. No, thank you for that support, man. And all I have received is positive support, man.
Yeah.
A couple naysayers here and there, but I gotta stay focused.
Yeah. It don't matter what it is. I'm down to help you. This is something that I hope to do also when I retire.
Sure, dude.
So if I can jack a couple of your moves, you know what I mean?
For sure.
I'm gonna call it dummy torment tactical though.
I see it in you, dude.
Thank you guys for tuning in. For those that stuck to the long run and listened to it, and I hope you guys really appreciated the show. I hope you guys really understood where Hector Brawl was coming from. Misunderstood. always doing things for the greater good, not just for himself. I appreciate our listeners. I appreciate what you guys are doing. I hope you guys have a safe holidays. And I hope that Mexico wins tomorrow. World Cup, baby. Let's go. USA tie today. It was a big tie. I applaud them too. Stay tuned. In about 2 weeks, we'll be having some more shows. It'll be out of sight. I'll be up north somewhere, and I'm going to be interviewing a couple people from Corcoran and hopefully some from SAC. I hope you guys love this shit. And that's right.
Thank you guys.
That's right, Ross. Class of 02
Thank you,
tomorrow,
brother.
20th year anniversary.
Yeah. Thank you guys for listening.
Peace out.
Good night, everybody.